watching some stuff today, Fraser, that we may never ever see again.
I'm Jordan McArdle.
I'm Dustin Beggs.
I'm Ryan Chiefkey.
And you're watching Friday Night Baseball.
Welcome to Friday Night Baseball.
I'm Mikey Reynolds, and welcome to Friday Night Baseball.
Well, kia ora katoa, and g'day baseball fans. Welcome down under to Adelaide's Active Display Stadium for a huge edition of Friday Night Baseball. For tonight, it's not just a battle between the two big improvers in this Australian Baseball League season. This is a clash between its two conference leaders. Coming up, it's the Auckland Tuatara visiting West Beach for the very first time against the league-leading Adelaide Giants. My name is Phil Hurd, and so glad you've chosen to join us this evening. Tonight, I'm joined by a man very familiar to Adelaide baseball broadcast. Yes, he's back for the holidays. The new voice of Swan Hill Radio, the Murray Cod King, Fraser Fife. Fraser, welcome back.
Thank you, Phil. Great to be back in the broadcast booth.
Also joining us is a three-man team tonight, back from 2 weeks ago. His ABL debut, a man who's called, played, and coached baseball on three continents. Rob Ushy, welcome back, Rob.
Thank you, Phil. It's glad to be back. You know, we mentioned the debut, did something right, but I'm excited to be back with Fraser.
Exciting time for both fan bases, both leading their conferences at the moment. Key man in the Giants revival, a man who hit a huge walk-off home run the last time the Giants were home. That was Jordan McArdle. The Friday Night Baseball team caught up with him earlier today.
Yeah, just having more fun, I think. Last year, just put too much pressure on myself a little bit. I wanted to try do too much, and I mean, I've been working with Whitey and Mikey and a couple of boys with my swing, and Tank and I worked a lot when I got released from the Diamondbacks, so it was disappointing to get released by the Diamondbacks, but yeah, I mean, new chapter, never know, things happen, still young, but yeah, I mean, obviously just enjoying the season so far. We're having lots of fun. I'd love to play for Team Australia as well, but also, I mean, if I play well, some team might pick me up, but hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed, if I keep swinging it well, then I'm doing everything I can, so I hope. We'll look after each other, and late in the game, even like 7th, 8th, 9th inning, we always know that we're never out of the game because our pitchers done really well, play good defense, we're always, you know, a runner on, a bloop and a blast away from tying up or going ahead, so yeah.
Great to see J-Mac back in some form. He will be key tonight to talk us through what to expect from the Adelaide Giants this weekend. Eric Bolnar caught up with manager Chris Tank Adamson.
Thanks, Phil. Chris, big weekend this weekend. We're at the halfway point of the season, sitting top of the standings. Now, what do you do? How do you keep the guys controlled, focused going into the next half of the year?
Oh, I mean, it hasn't been too much of a challenge. I understand that, you know, every game's as important as the next, and these guys are red hot coming in here, so it's fun to play another good team.
Now, baseball, as we know, is a very streaky sport. You can get hot quick, you can get cold quick. Auckland's hot, 7 in a row. They started 1-7, now they're 11-9. What do you do when you're running into sort of a freight train like this, it seems?
Oh, I mean, it's still kind of largely focused on ourselves, you know, and just what we've done to give ourselves a chance to be successful. You know, we've pitched the hell out of it thus far this year and run the hell out of the bases, so we'll just continue to do our best on that end, and hopefully the rest takes care of itself.
Now, how does this one sit for you on a personal level? Obviously, you managed with Steve Mintz a couple years ago when he was the manager of the then Bite, and then you took over from him, and now he's managing Auckland. It kind of comes full circle.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, last week got to go against Brooke, and this week was Steve Mintz. So, you know, he's a very good friend and a mentor of mine. So it's good to go out there and compete against him.
Jared Koenig, the opposing pitcher tonight, he's on fire to start the season. Just got signed by the Athletics. Do you do a lot of scouting on try to break someone like that as well too?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of information, you know, on some tendencies and video and whatnot. So, and we tried to create a training environment this week that, you know, best prepares us for him. So, you know, we'll go out there and try and do our thing and see how we go.
Thank you very much, Chris. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Tank, for that interview. Well, it's the Giants against the Auckland Tuatara. Fraser, here's how Auckland line up.
Yeah, going through the Tuatara lineup, Isaac Franklin will be leading off with Kent Blackstone behind him. At 3-4-5 are Josh Morgan, Jared Walker, and Won Seok Kim. Behind him, Andrew Mark, Johnny Homza, Josh McAdams, and Max Brown. On the hill will be Jared Koenig. Looking at him defensively, It'll be Kim Brown McAdams in the outfield. Morgan, Franklin, Blackstone, Walker and Hamza will make up the diamond with Koenig on the pitcher's mound. Rob, how about the Giants?
Yeah, hometown Giants. Mikey Reynolds reclaims his stop on top of the order, followed by ABL Player of the Week or Team of the Week member Eric Peterson in the 2-hole, Curtis Mead 3, Aaron Whitefield rounds it out in 4-hole, Jordan McCardle, Logan O'Hoppy at DH, Mitch Edwards, Rickson Wingrove the first baseman, and Cole Stobie will be in the 9-hole tonight. When we look at them defensively, Jordan McCardle takes over in left field, Aaron Whitefield will roam center field, Cole Stobie in right, Curtis Mead, Mikey Reynolds, Eric Peterson, and Rickson Wingrove. Mitch Edwards puts on the tools of ignorance behind the plate, and making his ABL debut, local player Chase Cunningham on the mound today.
So that's how the teams have lined up. You can see, well, it's a homecoming everywhere. We've got the homecoming in the broadcast box. We've got a homecoming at the plate. Steve Mintz, former Adelaide Bite manager, is back in town in his second season with the Tuatara. He's meeting up with the umpiring crew, which tonight behind home plate is Payne Sauter, first base Ian Revel, third base Andrew Bell. And of course, wasn't that long ago that Tank Adamson was a player under the tutelage of Steve Mintz.
Yeah, well, it's interesting seeing them both in the booth. They're both colourful characters, so who knows if the game gets interesting, some fireworks happen, we might see something happen in the dugout, but I think all the fireworks will be happening out on the field tonight.
And there's storylines everywhere. We've got two hot teams, Rob, but we've also got two locals from the South Australian Baseball League, teammates with the Clippers team in Super League Baseball in Isaac Franklin and Chase Cunningham, and they're going to be facing each other to get this game underway, both in their ABL debuts.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for the first at-bat here. Chase Cunningham with the Kensington Cardinals. Adelaide Giants are a little short-handed this week with a couple pitchers having to go home from the Japanese League, and so they turned to some of the local talent. They found Chase Cunningham, and you're not going to find a better pitcher in Adelaide right now. He spent 4 years in the Frontier League. The first 3 with Washington Wild Things. The last one with Southern Illinois, where he was the pitcher of the year. Went 10-5, 3.23, more than a strikeout an inning. And locally for Kensington, all he's done is gone 7-2 with 90 strikeouts over 60 innings and a 1.22. He's been the dominant pitcher of local baseball.
90 over 60, Fraser. That's 1.5 per inning. So half of his outs are through a K.
Hey, you'll take that any day of the week. And if he can replicate anywhere near that tonight, I think the Giants will be pretty happy.
We'd like to welcome you all to be part of the commentary crew as well. Join us on the YouTube feed. We'll keep an eye on that as the game allows. Good evening to Jason, Giants fan, Nicola, Tuatara fan. And make sure if we're a bit biased or there's something happening that we need explaining or you've got questions, please join in the conversation. Two hot teams. If you compare them to where they were at last year, Adelaide are 13-7. They were 10-10 this time last year, and that was pretty much on the back of some easy wins against debutant teams. Auckland were 6-14 this time last year. They're 11-9, so they've got 5 more wins. The Giants 3. They're both leading their conferences, and can you believe it, Fraser, that we're already in the second half of the season?
I know, it feels like it's gone so quickly, and I think for both these teams, they definitely take the start that they've had, top of their respective conferences. And I think for the Tuatara, of course, being an expansion team last year, having that continuity from last year has definitely helped them out. And of course, they've just been on an absolute run, so don't count them out here.
You know, they had that tough start at the beginning of the year. They lost a few tragedy amongst their own, there. But that's where the good teams and good management, they rally around that. They've been on a roll, as you mentioned, since then. And I think we're going to have a good series here. The 2 first-place teams, great weather planned all weekend. This is probably where the baseball should be for the ABL this weekend.
They've won 10 of their last 11. This time 3 weeks ago, they just lost a game to Canberra, controversial circumstances. Had a player, Steve Mintz was ejected. It was a low point of what had been a real season of struggle. Then they won the next 3 against Canberra, went to Brisbane, lost 1, and then won the next 3 again, and then swept the Sydney Blue Sox. Suddenly they're almost like Star Trek. They're going where no Tuatara has gone before, and for the fan base, this is a great time. Suddenly they're in a winning record. They're in the playoff hunt. It's exciting time to be a Tuatara fan.
Most definitely. They've got a home ground now. The fan base is getting behind them. I think it's just going to go from strength to strength as we continue in this ABL.
Meanwhile, we're almost about to have the anthem. Of course, it was emotional scenes remembering Zoe Hosking this time 2 weeks ago. We go down to our national anthem to be sung by one of our favourites, Ethan Hall. A warm day, but a glorious night to watch some baseball. A good crowd in, especially over the Giants dugout. And a rousing anthem from Ethan Hall to get us back underway. Well, Rob, Chase Cunningham on the hill, giving us a little bit of background. What should we expect from Chase tonight from what you've seen at the Kensington Cardinals this year?
You're going to see a bulldog on the mound. He hates to lose, wants to win every at-bat, wants to go after every player. He's going to attack all the batters. It's going to be a fastball. It's going to sit high 80s, going to hit a little bit of low 90s as well. Curveball, change up a little bit, slider, but a put-away split finger pitch that maybe a lot of players haven't seen in Australia too much.
Well, no one in the Australian Baseball League probably has seen unless they've been playing in the local comp. So it is the Christmas time. It is the halfway point. We do say goodbye from a Giants perspective to Tiger and Summer, Ono and Nushijura, the two pitchers. And, of course, Nushijura worked his way up to being a starter in Game 1 the last couple of weeks. They're back to Honda to prepare for their season. Also some changes for Auckland. Hernandez, Johnny Hernandez, their leading base stealer, hasn't made the trip over. Their pitcher, Glagoski, has some American commitments and he may be done for the year. Josh Richards, one of the development players, also missing out, replaced by Isaac Franklin, who we're about to see. And Isaac with the Northern District Reds in the South Australian Baseball Comp. How ironic is this? He's at the plate at West Beach against the Giants.
Yeah, we've seen the Tuatara dip into the SABL talent pool a little bit as well. A couple weeks ago, they signed Sir Boss Nui back. A little familiarity between Mince and Boss when they were both with the Bite a few years ago. But right now, Isaac Franklin getting his ABL debut, and so man, he's had a little bit of travel. An American, his first time in Australia.
So here we go, set to rock and roll. Your play-by-play man, he's back. Fraser Fife.
Let's get back in the groove, and Cunningham gets a good one over. First pitch for a strike against Franklin. And lefty takes a little bit off it. 0-2 count. Franklin looking to just make contact here as Cunningham getting some early strikes over the plate. And that one going to be found back into the netting.
Something that you didn't see a lot of, Fraser, this year since you weren't around for Super League. Isaac Franklin led off for the Clippers this year, and we saw a lot of this when he was leading off. A lot of foul balls, chop, 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 until he found something he liked to drive out there.
As we get the first ball of the at-bat as well, of course, you've got to be able to grind out these sorts of at-bats, and you want to work that pitch count up, so we'll see what he can do here.
Yeah, the 6'6" shortstop.
Definitely is a lanky 6'6", as most people are. You don't see a whole lot of guys, especially early on in their careers, put on that sort of impact muscle. But hey, as long as he's got the bat speed and the wheels, I think they'll take that for sure. As here is the first pitch hit out towards Stobie, and looks like that one is going to go to Whitefield as he'll take charge for the first out.
Just to set the Adelaide Giants up defensively, as you may have seen earlier, around the outfield. McCardle in left, Whitefield in centre, Stobie in right. around the bases. Curtis Mead in the hot corner, third base. Mikey Reynolds short. Eric Peterson second. Rickson Wingrove at first. Mitch Edwards is behind the plate tonight. Logan Hobby the DH, and as mentioned, Chase Cunningham on the hill as Kent Blackstone makes his debut in Adelaide.
Yeah, Blackstone averaging 280 at the moment, as that one's in for a strike. On base percentage of 298, slugging not much above that either. So singles hitter at the moment, but all it takes is one series, and especially now going up against the top of the table Giants, just having that competitive series, I think can make players rise to the occasion. So we'll see what they can do here. 0-1 count, base is still clear.
I think Blackstone was a great addition for the Tuatara. He wasn't around the first couple of weeks. One of the replacements they added when the roster spot came open. And since he's been thrust into the lineup, it's been in the top of the order. And he's just gotten on base, as you mentioned, got with his 280 average. And he helped kind of turn that around for them.
What a liner. Going to go to Wingrove, and he'll take that one quite easily, or at least looks pretty easy for the second out.
This is one of 4 games, all happening simultaneously tonight. Sometimes we have them spread across the time zones from Auckland to Perth. Tonight we've got games in Brisbane, in Sydney, in Geelong and Adelaide, and we'll give you scores around the diamonds throughout tonight's coverage. As it's Josh Morgan, the 24-year-old American, who comes up in the 3-hole.
Josh Morgan getting on base at over 400 clip. And that's exactly what the Tuatara need here, just to get themselves right. Still early on, but you want to put that pressure on early. You don't want to let someone like Cunningham get into a groove, start to establish himself. As you said, he's a bulldog, so he's going to want to go deep into this game.
Yeah, we're going to see the atmosphere is his. I'll get it right. ABL debut, but with the professional appearances he's had back in the United States, the atmosphere isn't going to overtake him. There's going to be a chopper right to Peterson at second, a little crow hop over, and it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Chase Cunningham to start the Giants' season off tonight.
1-2-3, it's as easy as that. Cunningham off to a solid start. Those scores around the diamonds, as mentioned, we will give you those through the course of the day. Can tell you in Sydney it is the Blue Sox currently leading Perth 2-0. Canberra have an early lead over Geelong 3-0. That's at the bottom of the 5th. That started over an hour ago. And in Brisbane, which started about 40 minutes ago, top of the 4th, Brisbane lead Melbourne 1-0. It's all inter-conference games this week and next week. So we've got to keep an eye on all 4 of them in terms of how the Giants will be affected in the Southwest Conference, where they do lead Perth by 1 game, Melbourne by 2, and they do have a 5-game gap on a Geelong career.
The man on your screen, Jared Koenig, pitching very well for the Tuatara. 5 starts, a 1.95 ERA over the course of that, but 27 2/3 innings. So he's going to be doing quite nicely for the Tuatara, but he is going up against the Giants batting lineup. And let's say offense has been a calling card for them. Not many easy outs for them this season.
No, you're getting a couple of weeks ago calling the game, they were no hit into the 7th inning, and it looked like they were going to do nothing all night. But then once they got that first one, kicked the barn door open, hits exploded, big comeback, and another walk-off. So you do want to keep it as quiet as possible because hits are contagious, and the Adelaide Giants showed that last couple of weeks.
And I think one of the keys for them is just having that speed all throughout the lineup. You know, we've seen what Mikey Reynolds can do for those who are regular watchers of Giants broadcast, but you've got Peterson, Mead as well. Whitefield's got some wheels, he's got some pop, which he's certainly showed this season as well. So not a lot of easy outs, as I said, but I think that speed element definitely just changes things up.
Lots of comments on the chat, some questioning why no New Zealand anthem beforehand. It's a fair question because I know in Auckland they do play both. Maybe we'll have that set by the second game because it is the first time that we've had a New Zealand team playing in Adelaide. They did in their one and only series. They did play in Mount Gambier, and that was an Auckland home series because basically the Tuatara did not have a home stadium. They had McLeod Park for the first few weeks as Koenig takes the first pitch on the outside. So Koenig, here's a good news, bad news story for the Tuatara. The good news is, just before last week's Sydney series, he signed a contract. He's got a playable hit out of there. And that in the end is a pretty easy work for the centre field. The bad news, Fraser, as Max Brown, the former Bite player, swallows that up for the first out. He signed the contract, which means tonight is his last outing in Auckland colours.
Well, I mean, there's always got to be a downside to everything, but of course, if he's signing a contract, I think that's probably the least of his worries. For the best of luck to him. Hopefully he can continue on in his career and have one last game where he can just go all out.
That's right. It will be interesting. Actually, we know that pitchers, when they are affiliated, start to maybe have some restrictions placed, pitch counts, innings and so forth, Rob. So it'll be fascinating to see how far, if he is on top, how far he's allowed to go tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking they'll probably let him roll to how he's gone most of the season. He's been close to the 100 pitches, went over a little bit. But I imagine the Oakland Athletics are just going to let him roll here. He is a bit older, so he's not a young kid that's going to be joining the organization. They're going to send him, I believe, to probably straight to AA, if not AAA for spring training when he joins. And he's not going to have to go with the young kids in the 19 to 21-year-old range. So they're going to want a little bit of development in the arm and let him run, probably as far as he can go.
He was drafted in round 35. I think it was the White Sox. Don't hold me to that. But he never signed a contract. So 5 years after getting drafted, he finally has his contract. This one with Oakland.
Peterson with that knock into centre field, so he will raise his average. 218 he was coming in with, so get that above the Mendoza line.
Well, he's definitely picked it up in the last few weeks. When they had their last home series, I believe Eric was hitting about $190 coming into that. He had a good series last week in Perth. He's picked it up right there, and he's got some of the speed you mentioned that the Giants possess.
His temperature here, 32 degrees Celsius. It's one of the more pleasant days we've had in recent times. We have had some fires nearby up in the hills. Thankfully, they've abated for the moment. But thanks for the wishes from New Zealand on the chat about the fires. As Curtis Mead, now with the Tampa Bay Rays, comes to the plate.
Curtis Mead, he's been doing very well. 329 average, 361 on base slugging, 532. Means that for Koenig, going to have to go out of the stretch, but being a lefty, he does have that advantage looking towards first base, and he's going to go for that lazy pickoff attempt.
That's the show me there. Wasn't his good pickoff move. Just let the runner know, yeah, I'm still thinking about you. Tuatara are going to have to be quite knowledgeable about how much the Giants do run. So he'll be keeping himself fairly close. Mead's going to jump all over that one. He's going to drive that one to left center. Brown's going to camp under that one with his speed, get himself for the second out. So there's two fly balls to center field, but the Giants have been on both of them, and just Max's Brown's speed in center field is able to allow him to track that one down. Otherwise, Curtis Mead maybe have had himself an extra base hit and an RBI, but right now, nothing to show for it. I'm going to have to turn to Aaron Whitefield, who has been maybe the Adelaide Giants offense this season, kept them going, got them going, did everything he can. I believe he's been on the ABL Team of the Week every week this year.
Every week. Yes, at this rate, he better be, if he's been on the ABL Team of the Week for half of the season, he better be on the ABL Team of the Year at the end of it. And certainly if the Giants were having a Helms Award candidate, Whitefield would be it. 27 hits, leads the Giants, as does his 17 stolen bases. Leads the ABL by a considerable margin.
Peterson off, going to have to test Homza. Goes a bit wide, it's going to go into centre. Peterson looked like he was going to go for third base, but didn't quite have the footing, so he'll just have to hold up.
A little bit of a sniper in the stands may have got Peterson from being able to adjust, but good jump from Peterson. Went on first movement of Koenig there, and throw from Hamza was off to the side. No real chance to get him. You can see a little stumble there, but Whitefield's got himself a runner in scoring position with 2 out now.
If the ball was hit hard enough, Peterson could take that extra base, get that run home. We'll see what Koenig can do here. Goes to the breaking pitch in Whitefield. He liked what he saw, couldn't make contact.
So Whitefield, 13 runs, 14 RBI thus far this season. Struck out 14 times, walked 9. So that's a pretty good ratio you like as a hitter. He takes this to a 1-2 count with 2 out, but a man in scoring position. First opportunity for the Giants.
Peterson caught in the rundown. He slipped once. See if he can keep his footing. Goes for the spin move, but too little, too late, as that will retire the Giants, and that will end the first inning.
Alrighty, well, we'll see Aaron Whitefield in the second. Right now we take a break at the end of the first. No scorers yet. Hope you're enjoying Friday Night Baseball.
Where are you going, man?
Oh, dear. Okay, Rob. Okay. Well, we stopped. It was in my audio.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Rob, we're going to come back and we'll get you to talk about the picture and how he managed to get Reynolds wrong-footed. So when it comes back, straight to you, okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, awesome.
Back here Friday night, we see Eric Peterson picked off second base to end the Giants' threat there. Got himself leaning a little bit. He was trying to steal third, left early. Jared Koning, knowledgeable enough, watching out of peripheral vision, able to just do an inside-out spin there and catch him leaning a bit. But we're going to go to the top of the second, and now the Auckland Tuatara, 3-4-5, Walker, Kim Won-So, and Andrew Mark are going to come up, see if they can do any damage to Chase Cunningham, who breezed through the first inning of work.
Yes, you always assume that the microphone is on. We're at the top of the second for the Auckland Tuatara. It's going to be 3-4-5. It's Jared Walker. He is the danger man for the Tuatara. Explain why as we go along. And then the man with the power, Won-So Kim, and the local legend, Andrew Pinky Mark. So this is the real heart of the Tuatara order coming up at the top of the second.
So we'll see what Chase Cunningham can do, as you said, against the meat of this Tuatara order. One hit for the Giants. Tuatara still searching for their first base runner, as that pitch will miss the zone. 1-0 count. So the sun here as well, which usually comes down that right side, can play a bit of havoc for pitchers and hitters alike, but I don't think it's going to cause too much issue here tonight. Generally, it's the first 3 innings or so.
Bit of cloud cover, which takes away a little bit of the potency tonight.
So 2-0 count. Walker hasn't seen anything he's like, but he did like that. Wingrove doing a good job trapping it. And he's just going to casually walk over to first for the first out. And that's the good thing about having someone at first base with a bit of height. They can just casually block it as easy as you like, and Wingrove definitely no stranger at first base.
Good 2-0 pitch there from Cunningham. Knew the hitter was going to be aggressive and got himself something splitter in the dirt there. And Rickson Wingrove, as you mentioned, big first baseman. Doesn't have to go too far, just smother a baseball, and he got all day to run to first, just beat the runner down the line.
Well, at the plate now, 33-year-old Korean who's had experience in the KBO and in Japan, leads the Tuatara in home runs. Won-So Kim. Better work on my Korean, because I think they're here in about 4 weeks, the Geelong Korea boys.
Kim slugging .473.
Tuatara's player of the week last week.
We'll see if he can replicate some of that success, as they're going to appeal at first and no swing.
Been a nice addition to the Tuatara lineup this year. Last year they struggled a little offensively, and he, as you mentioned, with the home runs, there's going to be a ground ball to short. Ooh, tough little hop there from Reynolds, but he sticks with it, fires it across the diamond, and retires. Won-So, 2 out.
So that'll go down in the scorebook as a routine 6-3 put out, but it was anything but. I mean, you wouldn't want to be playing cricket on that pitch because that hit the grass and just skidded. And great reflex to grab it, and like he was expecting it all along.
Yeah, he's looking for probably a big hop on that. Didn't get the big hop. Got a lot of top spin, stayed down, but Reynolds stayed with it. And Cunningham forced fastball in.
Gets a good strike in there, but I think that's key with Reynolds, especially. We've mentioned speed so far, but he's someone who's definitely got speed at the shortstop position and does have a good arm. Going to go the other side of the diamond now, and Peterson, another throw over to Wingrove as he's been heavily involved, and that will retire the Tuatara as they go 1-2-3.
Got it right, gentlemen. It's time for Phil's trivia question, thanks to SA Power Networks. Now, there's been quite a bit of crossover, especially former Adelaide people. So, which Tuatara team member played the most games for Adelaide? Was it Bo Bishop, Max Brown, or Bass Noy? A, B, or C? They've all played for the Adelaide Bite back in the day, all over multiple seasons. Which player played the most games in Adelaide colours? And interesting to note that Bo and Bass are both here. They're the two players on the bench tonight. Max Brown, of course, in centre field. You will get until the middle of the third inning, and if you're on the YouTube chat, we expect you to put an answer on the board back yourself.
That's a good question, Phil, because as you mentioned, all three players played over multiple years. Two of them are catchers,
yes.
So they may not have played every game because there's going to be another catcher involved where Max Brown's an outfielder. Did he maybe get more time in the outfield?
Potentially some pinch run opportunities.
Yep, so Rodney and Darren Andrews, two of our regulars, and Latimus Prime have all said Bass Noy. Of course, Google, it's great for commentary prep, but it also does stuff up trivia quiz because you can look it all up. But I think Rodney might have done that from his memory. We'll find out middle of the third. It's just cooling down a little bit now, boys. Bit of a wind blowing in, which is freshening everything up. Pleasant night to watch some baseball.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if there's one thing we know doing our broadcasts outside is that the weather can most certainly change from what you usually get around that 4 p.m. mark. Once it gets to 7 o'clock and once we get into the later part of tonight, it definitely brings that wind chill coming in. So it's worked out pretty well tonight. Everyone's still in their summer attire, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Well, Aaron Whitefield has had some sighters. He was left stranded at the home plate as Peterson was caught in a rundown, and he will lead us off. It'll be 4-5-6 for the Giants. Aaron Whitefield, Jordan McArdle, Logan Ahope. We're underway, bottom of the second.
As you mentioned, Whitefield getting another opportunity here. He's already seen a bit. He's going to be aggressive early on as that's going to be a pop out towards right field. McAdams taking a couple of steps in, and that will be one pitch, one out for the Giants here in the bottom of the second.
So we talk about these two teams. Of course, Steve Mintz, former Giants, or former Bite manager, now with the Tuatara. We mentioned the three boys. We've mentioned the Cunningham-Franklin combination. And they're both in pretty good form. Last week they combined 7 and 1. Hard to actually know which was the better series win. Auckland swept Sydney. They finally have a winning record. They lead their conference. Adelaide went to Perth and won 3-1, which is probably one of the toughest asks at the moment in the ABL.
Perth, I mean, there's so many ways that they can beat you as a team, and over the years we've seen what the damage that they've done here at West Beach, and I think that's rather impressive. But I just think the Tuatara, the turnaround that they've had from last season, and of course all the preamble to this season as well, finally having a home, of course the tragedy for them at the start of the season, I think that all just adds into a great storyline for them. So I hope that they can continue the strong form that they've had.
Yeah, I'm certainly taking the 4-game sweep. It's hard to turn down when you win 4 games in a series as being the better of the wins. And as you mentioned, the tragedy and the way their season's gone this year, they got a beautiful ballpark. The fans are taking to the team, and it's certainly one of the storylines of the ABL that you love to see, and you want it to keep going.
So McArdle, 2-2 count, 1 out, base is clear. Pitch by Koenig, going to be outside, full count.
So, yeah, some comments on the feed. Bo Bishop is back in New Zealand, is known as Tawera Bishop. Murray name.
Full count, McArdle goes opposite field, but it will go foul. So far, he's been one of the stronger hitters for the Giants this season. 324 average, 457 on base, slugging 622, just quietly.
Just quietly. Yes, he was doing very well with limited opportunities. Then he was slotted in a game against Melbourne late and really proved the difference. And he is providing some power at the moment. Just got to get the direction right.
I think we saw just an off season last year from Jordan McArdle. A couple of years ago when he was signed, he came in as a young player, rookie, and just took off with the bat. And then last year, maybe a little more of that one. He's going to rip just over the first baseman's head. That's going to go down into right field corner. He's going to get at least two. See if he picks his sticks up and down and get into third. He's going to decide to coast into second for the Cadillac double. And a one-out double for Jordan McArdle. And the Adelaide Giants have something going again.
They do. He found Death Valley. Couldn't get anyone around, but he's got himself a stand-up double. And that will just improve his slugging percentage just that little bit more. A couple of people saying, what is this? They've stumbled on the feed. Well, this is Australian Baseball League with a team from New Zealand. You're looking at West Beach Parks, which is a suburb of Adelaide, capital of South Australia. And yes, this is live Australian baseball, Friday night Australian baseball.
We wouldn't have it any other way. Logan O'Hoppy stepping in, McArdle at second base, one out, so some outs to work with for the Giants as they'll look to try and put their stamp on this game early.
There's probably a big out of this inning for Conan right now. He's got a couple lefties coming up to finish in 7-8, and Mitch Edwards and Rickson Wingrove. So he wants to be able to get the right-hander and at least get an out, even if he allows the run to advance a base, to have two outs to go to the lefties.
The breaking pitch didn't quite go where he wanted it, so 2-0. Might be in a good count here. He's been good at getting on base so far this season. As McArdle will see if he's got the foot speed to potentially take that extra base if I hope he can hit it far enough. Wind blowing in from right field, so if he's going to hit one, he's going to have to hit it pull side. And gets the first strike there, a crucial strike there for Koenig just to keep himself in this at-bat.
He's hitting, averaging 245, slugging 469. Means he's almost averaging two bases every time he gets a hit.
Wouldn't he love an extra base right here? Still in a good hitter's count. Koenig with that brief check, pitch. Gonna be low in the zone. Look, I didn't miss by much. But now O'Hoppy right in the driver's seat.
See him nibbling away a little bit, came inside there. He could also be looking to, he doesn't want to give him the pitch that he can drive somewhere. He does have a base open with first base. See what he goes with the 3-1 pitch here. Not even close. It could be the unintentional intentional walk.
Yes, it does bring the double play into a bit more consideration. Catcher Mitch Edwards. Been a little bit quiet in recent times. From an offensive perspective.
Yeah, 241 average, getting on base at a 281 clip, slugging 296.
3 from 15 last week with 1 RBI.
But again, all it takes is one big swing to get yourself out of a slump. This one is going to go far enough foul.
I mean, he's averaging 241, so it's not slumping.
No, and of course for catches as well, you don't expect a significant offensive output. It's always a bonus if you get it, and Edwards has definitely been one of the offensive catalysts for the Giants, and of course for the bite last year. But they do take on a lot more responsibility. But they would just love to be able to break this game open here. If they can get a run across the board early, just lets Cunningham settle in a little bit as he goes through the rest of this order for the first time. For Koenig, they want to put that pressure on. They want to see him miss these spots. They want to drive that pitch count up.
Should say good day to Adam, who's watching in Poland, where it's 10 a.m., and to Ricardo, who's watching at 2 a.m. from Los Angeles.
0-2 count, going to get away from Homza. Well, they're going to take the extra base. McArdle showing the wheels.
There is a very different mindset with the Giants around the bases this year compared with what we've seen previous. Everyone is attacking, and that's why the Giants are standout leaders in stolen bases this year.
And you think about that compared to 2 years ago, where I think they only had about 5 stolen bases for the year. Now, well and truly at the bottom of the ABL stats in relation to that. So really it's taken the past couple of years, but their entire approach, their entire mindset around the base has completely changed.
Number 34 this year for the team.
I think you kind of have to play that way here at West Beach. As you mentioned, they went through the seasons of having the home run hitters and having the guys who they play for that 3-run home run, 2-run home run every inning, whereas the ball doesn't fly here as well as some of the other ballparks in the ABL. So playing a little smaller ball, having some speed, having guys that can cover the whole outfield with being able to track balls, that's probably more important than having that big home run hitter.
Well, Edwards going to foul this one back. And I think that's the key. It's taken them a couple of seasons to be able to recruit those guys and build up players within the system who have that skill set for this ballpark. Because for the first season, you don't really know how it was going to play, and it took a while to make that adjustment. But I think now the Giants are really starting to play. They're 7-1 at home so far this season, and that sort of says how they've really turned this place into a bit of a fortress.
Big moment here for the Giants, I think.
Oh, nice block by Homza.
Yeah, I believe we probably saw that opening weekend when they played Brisbane here. You saw two different teams. Brisbane, very much the power hitting team. They're built around their ballpark, which is just a tiny little pop-ups go out there.
Ooh, yeah.
And they're built around that. So power hitters there work. Power hitters here don't.
And we saw that with Whitefield, of course, coming over from the Bandits last season. He struggled to adapt to this ballpark, didn't play to the same sort of offensive numbers that he had away compared to last season, and now look at him, he's absolutely crushing the ball. So maybe that adjustment that he's had, or he's had a season being able to play here in this ballpark, and really been able to use his wheels more, go for the extra base more so than the home run, I think has definitely helped him.
Certainly a tremendous at bat here for Mitch Edwards, fouling balls off. 2-2 count, looking for something he can drive to the outfield, at least get a sacrifice fly and get his team on the board. There goes the runner. They got another one picked off. We're going to throw to second. Franklin's going to tag Ohapi out. McArdle not able to advance, and there's a big second out from Jaron Koenig. There's the good pickoff move. We saw the aggression in the first inning, and they got someone picked off. We see it again here in the second inning, and now one more good pitch gets the Auckland pitcher out of trouble.
Well, basically, the Tuatara know that Adelaide are going to run, and if they didn't know that, they just haven't been watching our broadcast.
That's a 2-2. Richie,
hey, welcome back.
Breaking pitch, and it is going to miss the zone. Full count here for Mitch Edwards. He has definitely had a very competitive at-bat here. He's lost that bit of a cushion that he had with the runner at first, so 2 out, full count. McArdle at third. Still looking to break the deadlock here in the bottom of the second. And that payoff pitch is going to be down and inside. Edwards, a very good at-bat there, a crucial at-bat to keep this one going.
I should add that we're unlikely to see Edwards get run down. He hasn't attempted to steal a base so far this season. Second consecutive walk to Koenig. He's getting a little bit of a chatter. This is going to be a changeover scenario. He was in 2018 the pitcher of the year for the San Rafael Pacifics in the Pacific League, and this year Koenig for the Lake Erie Crushers had the most strikeouts with an ERA of 2.24. He leads the Tuatara this season in innings pitched, 27.2 from his 5 outings, so he's averaging over about 5.5. His qualifying ERA is the lowest at 1.95. His opposition average 2.02, and he has 29 strikeouts. So he has been a really good pickup for Auckland, albeit for what will be 6 out of the 10 weeks.
That was only the 9th walk that he's surrendered so far this season. As you mentioned, the 29 strikeouts. So I think for the Giants, they'll take what they can get. Rexon or Wingrove, lefty-lefty matchup here.
I know you love your lefty-lefty matchups. Why do you love them, Fraser?
I just think the whole thing, and of course I did play baseball terribly for a couple of years, and just anytime you had that same matchup, you had to adjust. It's all about, changing the eye level, changing the speeds, and I think with that lefty-lefty matchup, especially if you've got to go with a bit of a funky action, you got no chance. The ball looks like it's going to come in on your belt. You're swinging before anything gets through. Meanwhile, Edwards, he's not going to get the stolen base, but he's going to take the extra base, as that one is going to roll behind home plate. So
takes what is given to him.
Pretty
late
much.
Chrissy present. Trust you all had a good Chrissy?
Yes, good Chrissy. Sure everyone out there, of course.
Sun, heat, how could I complain?
Well, so the opposite of what you've got is freezing cold and...
Well, it was actually fairly warm back home in Winnipeg this year. It was only -6 or 7, something like that.
There you go.
That's a nice day.
Balmy.
It's a balmy Christmas day for back home. Going in with the 1-1 pitch to Wingrove. That one he's going to take the big sweeping curveball a little bit outside and head 2-1. Koning continues to fall behind and get himself in trouble. The Giants have just run themselves out of innings basically so far.
Indeed.
Oh, chopper. Kearney going to grab this one with two hands, flip over to first. That will retire the Giants, as they have an opportunity to get runs on the board but can't capitalise.
All right, we will take a break. It is 0-0 here on Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound Radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Welcome back. You can see another sunset here, not the normal glorious sunset that we're used to, but to be honest, we're pretty thankful it's under some cloud cover tonight because it has been a warm one and a warm weekend ahead on and off the field. This is the Adelaide Bite, the Auckland Tuatara, the two conference leaders at the moment, two teams who weren't in the playoffs last year. And we have seen a tightening in the standard of the comp. Auckland Tuatara, Fraser expansion teams last year obviously took a while to get going. Geelong have already passed last year's win total. Tuatara on a winning record. It makes for a fascinating 8-team comp.
Oh, the parity in this league has been absolutely crazy this year. And you've got teams that, as you said, were just non-starters last year. And you expected that with the expansion teams, it was going to take some time for them to get up to speed. But the fact that they've improved so significantly over a calendar year, I think that's just been the most impressive part.
I agree. I've seen improvement from everybody that was teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, and that's what they have to do. When teams are young, when they're kind of growing and stuff, you do want to get better each year. It's not maybe you want to win the first year, of course, but if you don't, as long as you improve for the next season, you've got yourself set on a good pace.
Well, viewers might hear the chicken dance music. That's because Johnny Hosmer, the Alaskan draftee, is the K-man, and he won't be K because he's flying that out to centre.
Yeah, Homs it high and far, but it is going right into the glove of Aaron Whitefield as he tracks all the way over to right centre.
So it is 7-8-9 for the Tuatara this innings. Hosmer followed by Josh McAdams and then Max Brown. So this is Josh McAdams, who has a stat line.
Super utility man, Josh McAdams. Josh was in Winnipeg a couple years ago, where he played a few outfield positions, first and third.
Yep.
So
that was Homza, who just flew out. This is McAdams, who has a stat line his average is 167 and has an OPS of 1,111.
making use of his time up there. As we see Cunningham cruising along. Strike, that one's going to be driven under the glove of Rickson Wingrove. That's going to into the right field for a first hit of the night for the Auckland Tuatara. And they got a base runner with one out in the top of the third.
Now bringing the plate, Max Brown.
We'll see what Brown can do. First base run on for the Tuatara. First hit for them, and that's exactly what they need as we're heading into the third inning.
So we had John A. Hosmer, who flew out to centre. Josh McAdams singles to right. He's on first. Now we come to number 9 hitter, Max Brown, who has played in every single game in Tuatara history. The only thing is he's averaging .089 at the moment, so if he wants to keep that streak going, he needs some hits.
Yeah, we've seen Max already tonight. He's probably more in there right now defensively, trying to get his bat going. But we saw him track down Curtis Mead's ball in the first inning that was destined for left center fence, and he was able to get to it, put it away, and end the threat.
Well, I think that's the key as well for this league. It is still a development league for a lot of guys. Of course, a lot of US teams will send over their prospects who are low in the minors and really give them some time to polish up their skills. And for someone like Brown, as you said, he brings defensive value, and especially in a ballpark like this, it certainly helps, and you just hope he gets the bat going. Unfortunately, he'll have to wait at least one more at bat as he goes for the strikeout, the first one, I believe, for Cunningham.
There's Cunningham's first strikeout in his ABL debut, and maybe the fans will get on it, but when Cunningham gets a strikeout, it's a give a little, you hear?
We'll leave that one to you. Well, Tuatara lineup going to turn back over. Isaac Franklin stepping in, runner at first, 2 out. And here comes the pickoff attempt. Franklin, last time round, flew out to center field.
One of the local players that Tuatara have added for this weekend for the Northern District Reds, but I'll have one for Phil here after the first pitch that Cunningham makes to him. He's going to follow that one back. This past summer, he went and played in Slovenia for the playoffs.
I have the team right here.
Yeah.
I'll pass it to you. I need you to pronounce it for me.
The Kransk Lisaki.
I'm going to say Kransky Lizaski.
Yeah. Then basically, if you're looking, it's the Foxes.
The Foxes, fair enough. I saw that he played in Slovenia. I thought, I hope Rob's here so he can pronounce these names for me, because you are the master of European baseball. How many years did you spend over in the French League, Rob?
1 year in the French League, and the 2 years before that was sort of a collegiate league that toured through about 8 or 9 different countries, and so meeting teams and players in all the ballparks over there, and being part of kind of overseas baseball. That one's going to be driven into right field, and Franklin's going to get himself his first ABL hit in his second at-bat. So nice little memory for that young man there.
Absolutely. You want to get the ball for that.
Well, first run scoring opportunity for the Tuatara here. Get another look on the replay here. Nice little break there at first, and not a whole lot you can do with that with taking extra bases, but I think they'll take it and say thank you very much. We'll see if Ken Blackstone can try and drive us in.
Tuatara with their first threat of the night. They hadn't had a hit until this inning. They got 2 this inning. Blackstone, the line drive his first time up, but right at Rickson Wingrove at first base. He was able to pounce on that for that second out. But 1-0 pitch from Cunningham here. Give me a slider. That's going to be on the ground. Peterson, he's going to bobble that one and then not be able to find it as he went to pick it up. The error by the second baseman is going to load up the bases. 2 out in the top of the third. And now it's trouble time with the big man, Josh Morgan, coming up.
Back in the day when that happened, Fraser and I would have a long discussion. Is that an error or not? It's a judging time. I say E.
Yeah, that's an error.
It's 100% an error. Okay. I'm a former pitcher. That's 100% an error.
You're not going to wear that as E.
As a former pitcher, I think just about everything, including balls and strikes, would be errors.
Everything except the out. So we're back to Josh Morgan. It was the 3-4 punch for Auckland that did very well last week in Morgan and Walker. Morgan was the last out in the last inning. Doesn't want to be that here because they've got loaded bases.
Well, Peterson's going to get another chance. This one's a little bit cleaner, and he'll throw that one over. And a exhale from the fans here, as that will retire the Tuatara. Nothing crossed the board yet.
Alrighty, middle of the third. Trivia answer. Now, we're going to get you guys to nominate, so don't put the answer up just yet. We have 3 former Adelaide players with the Tuatara. One of them is Bo Tiwara Bishop, also Max Brown, and the Dutchman Sir Bas Noy. What's your answer, gentlemen?
I got to go with Sir Bas.
Sir Bas, Fraser?
It's a clean sweep, Sir Bas.
Sir Bas. And the answer is Bas Noy. So I think Bo Tiwara Bishop played about 8 games with the Adelaide team. Max Brown played 9. They're over a couple of seasons. Bas Noy played in the 40s. He played 40 exactly. Signed by the Tuatara December 11 because they're a little bit short on the catching position. You can see the Burrito Bowl. Yes, no more Shark Tank Fraser. It's now the Burrito Bowl.
This is once again the third one up here now. I keep pining to be the roaming Robert to go get myself a job and go sit in the Burrito Bowl and do a game from there. See if we can hook that up in the broadcast booth somewhere.
Tomorrow and Sunday I'm doing sort of a one-man MixLR audio broadcast, and I've got to get away from the PA speaker. So I'm going to see if I can go to the Burrito Bowl tomorrow.
Could do some live crosses
live
to
crosses.
Zambrero.
That's exactly right. So one of the great sponsors, Zambreros, which the players certainly enjoy. So an interesting game thus far. We're through 2.5. Both teams have had their opportunities. But Cunningham and Koenig have managed to find a way to shut it all down before any damage is done. Very quickly around the ABL. Top of the 8th, Canberra lead Geelong, Korea 3-0. Top of the 6th, Melbourne lead Brisbane 3-1. Top of the 4th, Sydney lead Perth 0-0. We've got the close one as we head to the bottom of the third.
Yep, 9-1-2, beginning with Cole Stobie. As the first pitch he's going to take is a ball. And so far this season he has struggled. Was more in for what he brings defensively, but they're hoping that that bat can turn around. Not that the Giants have really been worried too much about needing key offensive contributors. They've been pretty well rounded so far. They sit middle of the pack offensively in runs scored for the league. So I think they're about 2nd in pitching ERA, so I think that's definitely been their strength.
Sit down before every series and look at the team stats, and of course one of the stories around the Tuatara is all their home games are 7 innings thanks to the Sky Sports contract. That then puts some of their stats out of whack a little bit. I think at the moment they have played about 16 innings less than Adelaide have at the halfway point of the season.
You wonder how that's going to impact things when it comes to giving out end-of-season awards and whatnot, especially for the pitchers, because that's going to be a negative impact on them. But hey, that ERA might be that little bit lower.
Yeah, I definitely think when it comes to ERA, innings pitched, if you're only talking 10 to 15, there's going to be a payoff pitch. Stubby's going to pop that one up, but it's going to drift foul over the stands. When you're talking maybe 10 or 15 innings, that's not enough to make a big difference. Win-loss record, walk-strikeout ratio, and ERA will be the bigger contributions than the innings pitched.
Well, as you mentioned, full count. Stobie flares one out to right, ranging back, and it's going to be caught in the right glove of McAdams for the first out. Got a good swing on that one, went opposite field. just carried that one and took what he got. Unfortunately, the wind going in from right field is going to knock a lot of those balls down.
Well, both of these teams' speed, I thought maybe we'd see a little more small ball tonight in comparison to other weeks. The other week, it was going to be a clear pitcher's duel with the pitchers that were on, with the wind blowing hard and in. Today, a little bit lighter breeze. It is picking up, but both these teams do run very well, put the ball in play a lot, but they just haven't had any base runners to do it with.
Yeah, well, so far, one strikeout for both Cunningham and Koenig. And it has been lack of trying. Both pitchers have been able to get to that 2-strike count. They just have not been able to put them away. And so that's more on the discipline of the batters and their bat control.
Well, just the one strikeout between them, and we're into the bottom of the third. So plenty of contact being made. The Giants have self-destructed on a couple of occasions with some rundowns, but you have to accept that as part of the boldness which we've enjoyed for most of the season.
You certainly got to, when you're an aggressive team and you run, you're going to get caught sometimes. And unfortunately for them so far tonight, it's cost them some base runners and maybe a run or two early. But as a manager, you know it's early in the game. You got lots of time to come back. You got good pitching staff. They're going to check it first. They're going to say that Reynolds went around. And so that's going to be strike 3. And there's Koning's second of the game. Second of the game total, sorry. One for each pitcher. That's his first of the game, second in total. But
now batting, Eric.
You're going to have to, just to finish the other thought, you have to live with the base running mistakes when you're an aggressive team.
Of course. Live by the sword, die by the sword, and enjoy the sword fight.
I suppose all that matters at the end of the day is what the scoreboard says.
But just going back a couple of steps, the 7 innings, and as a sports admin guy rather than the baseball traditionalists all hate it. As a sports admin guy from different sports, I understand it and the benefits you get from having all your games on home. But it helps the visiting team because they're the ones with the lesser players that are more stretched the longer a series goes. So in some ways, Auckland gives up a bit of, to me, some of their home field advantage.
And that's something that's come just throughout this league in general as things have changed. And of course, most teams going through a bit of a change in structure about how they approach things, and broadcast rights have been one of those. So eventually the teams will sort of find their groove and things will be able to work out. But yeah, just another wrinkle for this ABL season as Peterson working a pretty easy 4-pitch walk. That'll be the third for Koenig.
Yeah, Peterson continuing his hot play. Had a single his first time up. We'll see if he's still aggressive. He did steal a base in the first inning, but then he did get caught trying to steal third when he left a little early, and Kane was able to pick him off. With 2 out here, and see if the Giants want to keep running and maybe get that runner in scoring position for Curtis Mead, who put a charge into one last time.
He did, and you're heading into the dangerous part of the order. Mead going to be aggressive, bouncing ball just going to be thrown on to second for the third out, and that will retire the Giants. So we're through 3 as no team has scored.
Thanks for watching Friday Night Baseball.
And welcome back to Friday Night Baseball here at the ballpark. The Giants versus the Tuatara. Neither team has scored through 3 as we're heading to the top of the 4th. Phil, it's been an interesting game, but so far neither team's been able to break through, and I think that's just been down to some costly mistakes from the Giants on base running side, and the Tuatara just have not been able to get that key hit.
Some bending, no breaking as yet as the temp goes under 30 now. We've been going almost an hour of game time. Pleasant night with a bit of a pickup breeze. The Tuatara will go 4-5-6. This will be Jared Walker to be followed by Woksok Kim and Andrew Mark.
And Rob, how do you think that the pitches have gone so far? I mean, no scores on the board yet, only 2 hits on both sides. But yeah, bend but don't break attitude so far.
As you mentioned earlier, you do have 2 different styles. Cunningham so far, he gave up the 2 hits last inning. An error got them in some trouble, but he's been cruising right along. Koning seems a little off so far today. You mentioned it was his last start in ABL, but he's been getting out innings on the base running mistakes from the Giants, the over-aggressiveness they've had early in the game. But 0-0 is probably where both teams will take it right now. They'll take the best of 6 innings to finish this game out. Both have very good bullpens to follow once the starters do come out of the game.
So right now Walker, who's probably the danger man for the Tuatara, coming off a cracking week last week, was 4 from 9, 8 runs for RBI, 2 home runs. Bounce that one down left field line, and it's a 2-1 count. 6'2", Jared Walker. He will always go down in Tuatara history. He was the first man in Tuatara colours to hit a home run at their new stadium, the North Harbour Stadium, which looks absolutely magnificent on the feeds we've been getting. It feels a bit lopsided because the grandstand is completely down one side of the field, but some of the views you would get from that grandstand would be absolutely sensational.
At the same time, they've got that teal monster out in left.
And the teal monster. And they've actually got a fence that bends a little bit, as we discovered with the walk-off that Kim hit against Sydney.
Adelaide could have used that a few seasons ago back at Norwood.
And Cunningham gets Walker stringing, and that is his second strikeout, and that's a pretty good strikeout, Victor, to get the leadoff man.
Always getting the leadoff man, super important. And in a 0-0 game, heart of the order, almost doubly important when you got the power of Kim and Mark coming up after him.
We haven't seen too many pitches that have, or hits that have gone and threatened going out of the park yet. So I think, as you said, a lot of those gappers out towards the fences, and just getting those balls that go through the infield is going to be the key. So I think the team that's able to really capitalise and just get those balls on the ground, I think will do quite nicely. But Kim, he's someone who is known to hit with some power, so he could just completely throw that plan out the window.
Certainly the thing that's hard to do as a hitting lineup is when you're struggling is you want that big home run hit, and neither of these teams are really built for that, and so they can't go in and start searching for something that they're not built to do. They're built to find gaps and run, and they're just going to have to keep going with that philosophy.
He's down 1-2 in the count to Cunningham. Has a swing at that one, having looked at the last 2 strikes, and that's fouled over the burrito bowl. Wongsuk, well, he's spent 2 years with the Hanwha Eagles. Got a bit of a social media storm we might talk about a little bit later, because it was a bit of a moral dilemma. Ended up going to Japan in the Baseball Challenge League, playing for the Fukushima Red Hope this year, and that's a baseball team designed to rebuild, lift back up and revive the Fukushima community that we know that was devastated by earthquake, tsunami and nuclear reactor disaster. So that would be a team with a mission, the Fukushima Red Hope. Average 348, they're 15 home runs, as mentioned, leads the Tuatara in home runs this season. He's got this at a 1-2 count with 1 out and no one on. Cunningham delivers. A little close, no call, and we're at 2-2.
Nice pitch by Cunningham there. Kim had no chance of getting to that one. Just fortunate that it missed the zone, so he gets another opportunity here.
Just a bit on the high side. That one looked closer. Kim, well, the 3 strikes that Kim copped were all looking. And that is back-to-back strikeouts for Cunningham. He's in a groove now, Rob.
Yeah, that's what mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, is he's going to be a bulldog. He's going to go up there. He's going to want to get every single batter he faces out. And you mentioned don't let him get in that groove. He looks like he's in that groove now. So Tuatara might have to do something a little different to break it.
So now we're looking at a New Zealand baseball legend, Andrew Pinky Mark, 30-year-old. Apparently started playing, I don't know how you play at age 3, but he did start throwing and hitting apparently. Runs a complex in Auckland called the Field House, which is a batting cage. So no shortage of practice. Hits that one straight at Peterson, who waits for the bounce, has time to pick up cleanly. That delivers the 3rd out. The Tuatara go down 1, 2, 3. They are scoreless through 4. And it's all donuts through the innings at the moment.
Yeah, and for the Giants, it's going to be the 4-5-6 coming up, so Kearney's going to have his work cut out for him. But you've got to give credit to both teams. They have really been neutralising the offense. They've been letting a run on here or there, a base runner on here or there, but there hasn't been that big hit to break open the game. So credit to both pitchers, but I think for both these teams, it's going to be the first team that blinks that ends up regretting it.
So far, the Tuatara, they've been flirting with a little bit of danger. A lot more base runners for the Giants. Conan's been getting himself out of troubles with pickoffs. And for the Giants, Cunningham's cruise 3 innings, which have been 1, 2, 3. The Tuatara did get a couple runners on, threatened because of an error, but their offense needs to find another gear to kind of break that rhythm that Cunningham's been getting into. Maybe get him into the set instead of allowing him in the windup more. Lay one down. They got some speed at the bottom of the order, and see if they can find a way to keep things going.
Whitefield, he had a fly out to right, but behind him, McArdle, O'Hoppy, Edwards all managed to get on base last time round. So I think if Kearney can get through this part of the order unscathed, I think he'll be going into a lot of confidence for the rest of this game.
Well, we did have a request to see the Auckland bench, and there it is. So I hope that Rose is happy with that insight. There's the Giants dugout, of course, is the batting team. They're pretty much all there at the moment. In the home whites tonight, there's the Tuatara, and you really like the way that they've branded their team. I think the colour scheme, I think the name, and if we get a chance later, I will tell you about what a Tuatara actually is, but maybe not right now. And,
it's probably a good thing it wasn't the trivia question, so that...
What is a Tuatara?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to fit the answer as one of the multiple choice.
Well, let's just say it is very, very unique. As New Zealand's team in the Australian Baseball League is hoping to become. It's a big matchup. 2 teams in red-hot form, improved out of sight from where they were last year, trying to keep this momentum going. And at the plate now is a man with some New Zealand heritage that the Tuatara would love to get over. Aaron Whitefield, his dad, played softball for New Zealand, his mum for Queensland. In fact, Whitefield has actually played softball, men's softball for Australia as well, let alone baseball. So maybe a small handful of people who represent the country in both sports. And he has been nicknamed him the human highlight reel, and he has lived up to that this season.
A lot of focus has been on his bat, but he's just as good in centre field, where he's produced some highlight reel plays, hitting .370 on base of .439, which pretty much is first for average, second for on-base percentage for the Giants.
Koenig's got him though in an 0-2 count, and misses 2-1. It's interesting in terms of bat and ball sports. New Zealand baseball is ranked about number 50 in the world at the moment. Their men's softball team, numero uno, number 1 team on the planet.
They've had a number of softball players that I believe tried to make the change to baseball. Remember the name Pete Arona was one a number of years ago, signed by the Orioles, and tried to make the conversion. Big power hitter in softball. We tried to see if he could be the power hitter in baseball as well.
Great work by Whitefield. He's taken an 0-2 count. He's walked it. He's worked it to a full 3-2. Here is the payoff pitch. Whitefield fouls into the softball stadium, which we have here. This is a Diamond Sports Complex. Tomorrow, there will be, actually might not be tomorrow, people on the Christmas break, but most Saturdays, there's softball and baseball everywhere around here. It's not just at the professional level, but also at the grassroots. There's another foul by Whitefield. This is becoming a fairly long at-bat.
You just feel like as this game's progressing, the Giants hitters getting a bit more patient, waiting for their pitch, driving that pitch count up for Koenig, who, as you mentioned, has let some base runners on, but is yet to surrender a run. And he's going to get another one on here as Whitefield with a great at-bat, as you said, worked it from 0-2 to 3-2, and then works the walk to start the inning.
Fourth walk on Koenig tonight, having had 8 across 5 starts for the season. And now Whitefield on base. And this is where you need to be the Tuatara, which has a third eye, and be able to watch the pitch and first base simultaneously.
Only problem is you've got to get the ball over there. You can watch it all you like, but that ball's got to make it to the base.
Yeah.
Certainly Coning's mechanics look a little out tonight. You mentioned 4 walks, which almost doubles his, or is half of what he's had for the season. So he's a little off. The Giants got to probably take advantage of it. As you mentioned in I believe the second inning about pitch count, if he does have one, it could be getting up to that point. See if the bullpen gets going. The first pitch from McCardle takes for a strike. As the Tuatara are going to keep an eye on Whitefield because he is 17, 18 stolen bases, probably the league leader in that by a while, I'm sure.
Second place is 9 at the moment. He's only been caught once, so his ratio is about 93% success. But
For Koenig, he's up to 65 pitches, 35 for strikes. For Cunningham, 52-36.
So we'll see if that restriction comes in at some point. We are at the bottom of the 4th, scoreless thus far. Each team with 2 hits. The walks have probably been the difference. Is Whitefield in a run down? Yep, he's caught. That's for the 2nd time this season. And credit to Steve Mintz. The Tuatara are very much awake to what the Giants are trying to do. And that's the 3rd time they've been caught out trying to advance a base.
It's a good move from Jerry Koenig. We see he picks his foot up. They're going on first movement. And he's caught them again. He varies the leg kick at different timing. Sometimes it's a little quicker. Sometimes it's a little slower. They're going on first movement on pitches that he thinks that they're running on. McCarter's going to drive that one to left field. Going to send Kim back to the fence. He's going to come up and he's going to watch that one rock off the fence. And it looks like it's probably gone under the Boral sign.
It's wedged, I think.
It's wedged under. And so umpire Andrew Bell's going to run out, take a look. He's going to find that it is hidden somewhere in that sign there. Going to be wedged up under the netting. It's going to go as a ground rule double for Jordan McCardle. And he's 2 for 2 tonight with 2 doubles. See if the Giants can capitalize on this at this time.
Well, he's slugging 2,000 tonight.
He'll take that any day of the week, but you just think if Whitefield was on that bag, he could be at 3rd base.
No, he wouldn't be at 3rd.
Well, sorry, would be home.
No, actually, you are correct because the ground
I'm thinking
if
he's fast enough, if he's made it past 3rd, then we could have a run on the board. But for the Giants, they'll just have to rebound and try again.
So once again, runners in scoring position for Adelaide. Both teams have had them tonight. This is with 1 out. So we go to a Hoppe, Edwards, Wingrove if we go that far. No scorers yet. plenty of Tuatara fans watching, where it would be 11 o'clock at night, so thanks for sticking with us, and sticking with your team.
Well, they're still in this one, but a 2-0 count. Going to be dangerous here, heading towards the 6, 7, 8 of the order.
Just the life of a baseball player, Rob, which you would understand having travelled continents. Just want to tell you about the Tuatara's Day coming up as they found the gap. A Hoppe will be on, everyone will advance, men at the corners, one out. So Auckland to Adelaide, there is one non-stop flight courtesy of Air New Zealand. Pretty decent, leaves at 8:25 Auckland time, gets into Adelaide 10:40. It's about four and a half, depending on the wind, and they had a tailwind, so just under 4.5 hours. Now, if they were leaving at Auckland at 8:25, would have probably had, that's 5 to 6 Adelaide time, which means they would have had to have got up at about 3 o'clock Adelaide time to get to the airport by 4 o'clock to get an international flight to play here for a game that's going to finish at 1 a.m. New Zealand time. That is a long day.
That certainly is long. There's going to be a single into right field. That's going to score McCardle easily. And Mitch Edwards goes after the first pitch he sees. And the Adelaide Giants are on the board first, 1-0.
Indeed. We finally got a breakthrough, courtesy of a hat-trick of hits to McCardle, Hoppe and Edwards. And that was the certainly loudest cheer of the night, as you would expect from this hometown crowd.
Everyone's just been waiting for that breakthrough to come, and the Giants claim first blood. But for the Tuatara, it is not over yet. Still got 2 base runners on, 1 out. Double play could get him out of the inning. Mark Koenig's pitch count now up to 70.
So for Mitch Edwards, RBI number 7 this year. So we go to Wixon Wingrove, who's had 16 RBI, including a couple of walk-offs.
Here we go, Giants. Here we
and it's
go.
still 1 out.
Here we go, Giants. Here we go.
So Hoppe is at second, Edwards is at first. Wingrove with Stobie to 5. This is the 8-9 hitters, and Wingrove is averaging 265, and that's not a bad average for a number 8 hitter.
Not doing bad at all. Last at bat, he had a 1-3 ground out.
And he looks at second. And yes.
I think Giants players are just a little bit closer to the bag this time around. They've seen him do it a few times.
There was a series against Melbourne where they had the shift on Wingrove. Interesting, Auckland really don't have any shift on. Whitefield was at third as Wingrove takes a strike. So the third baseman wasn't short, and Whitefield must have come down about a third of the third baseline. And the pitcher, Whitefield, had a stare off for about 30 seconds. And eventually, third base came back to third base.
Well, 2 quality pitches so far by Koenig. Let's see if he can find that third.
So you can see the flags in the background. They're starting to gust up a little bit. And there is a game within a game happening at the moment, and we'll see a pitch sometime soon.
At this point, Kenny could also be playing with Wingrove, as he may be looking to throw the same pitch 3 straight times here, and he had a little break in between. That one he does. Wingrove swings at that one there, buried that one in the ground, and get himself a big strikeout there for the second out of the inning.
And this one a bit quicker, a little bit less break on it. And as you said, just Wingrove having to stand there as he's gone for 2 step-offs. I think you're right on the money there, Rob.
And that's why we pay him the big bucks. Here with Rob Ushie, Fraser Fife, Phil Hurton, a trio. Fraser, a long-time commentator, back from his new job up in Swan Hill.
Yeah. If you want to know, 6-hour drive. I've counted every minute.
So what frequency do we live into in Swan Hill?
I won't go as far as plugging my own station.
Great to
We'll
have
keep it professional.
Oh. Keep.
All right, start being professional.
Well, you are the professional, so okay, we'll take your thing. So, 1-0 count on Koenig, 2 out, still a man in scoring position. The Giants have got a run. They're looking to extend it out. You can see there. That's Ohope in your closest frame at second. Plenty to occupy Koenig at the moment, but he's battling through it okay. Took care of Wingrove. One more out to take it to the 5th. Stobie unleashes. That's long by the scoreboard. Looks playable. In the end, McAdams comes in, takes the catch. That will do it for 4. We have a run. It belongs to the Giants. They have the lead on Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
And welcome back to the baseball. Adelaide Giants versus the Auckland Tuatara. Heading into the top of the 5th inning. Adelaide get a run across the board thanks to an RBI single by Mitch Edwards. So that has broken the deadlock, but the Tuatara still have plenty of game to try and tie this one up and try and get out in front.
Well, not quite as stressful as they would be if this was at North Harbour and it's just a 7-inning contest. This one is going the full 9. And as we often find, it's after the starting pitches change, then the complex of the game can often change as well. It will be 7, 8, 9. Hosmer, McAdams and downtown Max Brown for the Tuatara this inning.
Yeah, for Homza, he had a fly out to centre field. McAdams behind him had a single to right, and then Brown with the strikeout. But he is the K-man tonight, so they'll be hoping that he goes down.
Starts off ahead in the count 1-0. Hosmer is a 20-year-old American in the San Diego Padres system. Grew up in Alaska, that hotbed of baseball. He was the 2-time Gatorade Alaska High School Player of the Year for South Anchorage High School, for the Wolverines of South Anchorage. And one of his achievements was he pitched a no-hitter against arch rivals West Anchorage, where they won the state championship and also got a runners-up. So, because you've got to remember that a lot of these guys are not even drinking age American yet. He was drafted by the Padres in round 5, which is as high as any Alaskan has ever been drafted. A few more in the 5th round. As he pops that up. Slowly making his way over in right field is Stobie towards that pole, but stayed well away. And that ends the story on Hosmer. Hope he bats again. I got a bit more.
Well, as the wind picks up as well, you've got to think any high fly ball is going to be a little bit treacherous as we get later on into this game if it keeps up. And you saw how far that Stobie had to come in on that one, drifting to the right of your screen. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor, but anyone with speed, you've got to imagine, you know, guys, regardless of their speed, are going to be going for that extra base just in case it does drop, which, you know, some players less inclined to run on a high fly ball.
Certainly, yeah, the high fly balls, we saw Stobie throw his hands up in the air at first with that one. Got just above the lights, lost it momentarily, and then he had to regroup himself, and he had to go a fair long way. As you mentioned, the wind is starting to pick up a little bit, blowing in a little more. As Cunningham pours in another strike to get the batter in behind in the count, and that's been success so far tonight into the 5th inning. He's been ahead of almost every batter.
Yeah, he started out in the first couple of innings, he just nibbled a bit and got behind and was able to sort of tightrope his way out of danger. But yeah, ever since settling in, you see 2 strikes on the board, 1 out, bases clear here in the top of the 5th. He's been coasting along, and there is another strikeout to add to his tally as McAdams goes down.
So should apologise to Stephanie, who's keeping us, by us I mean me, honest. Yes, it's Hamza, not whatever I was saying previously. I've updated my notes, Stephanie. Apologies, made a typo and went from there. So that was a quick second out. Cunningham looking to get through 5, where at the moment he would be the pitcher of record if this lead should hold. Max Brown, who's every time I listen to a Tuatara broadcast on Sky Sports New Zealand, it's Downtown Max Brown. I don't know if that's the nickname or if Watto, the play-by-play commentator, just has come up with that himself, but we'll run with it. Sounds Max Brown downtown, that would make sense. And he's having a good swipe at this, down 0-2 in the count. Cunningham a strike away from working his way through 5.
Been a quick inning so far from Cunningham. 2 pitches, 3 pitches to Hamza, 3-pitch strikeout to McAdams, and he's already ahead 0-2 here after 2 pitches. That one's going to be a soft liner. Peterson's going to come in, scoop that one up. Good throw over to first for another 4-3 putout and another scoreless inning for Cunningham and the Giants.
He's rolling, and as we head to the halfway point of the game, I've kept you in suspense. Would you like to know what is a Tuatara?
Yes, I would love to know, Phil.
Absolutely.
Any guesses, first of all?
I know you've told me previously, but I will not embarrass myself, so I'll refrain.
You said it has 3 eyes, so I'm already in the mythical creature atmosphere. I have seen the logo they use.
Yes, and it's a cool logo.
But I don't actually know, so of course I am very curious.
It's time we now cross over for the Australian Geographic channel for the next minute. Tuatara is Maori for spiny back. A Tuatara is not a lizard. It is the last surviving group of species called a Rhinchocephalia. It's known as a living fossil. It dates back 220 million years to the time of the dinosaurs. It is the only one of that species group that has survived to this time. Each individual can live up to 100 years, and when it's young, it has a 3rd eye on the top of its head, which is eventually grown over with the scaly skin. But the 3rd eye still has a retina, lens, and nerve, and it helps the Tuatara be sensitive to light and the time of the season. It was almost eradicated when the Polynesians came and the rats. It does take 15 months for eggs to hatch. In the cold weather, the eggs just stop growing until it gets warm again, and then they start growing again, which made them perfect food for rats. Almost eliminated, now protected, living on many of the small islands. An amazingly unique animal, and what New Zealand, Auckland have chosen for their mascot.
I don't think Richard Attenborough could have explained it any better.
I think we've got Phil Attenborough in the booth.
Back to the baseball. And that's going to be a 4-3 bang bang safe! Off the bag is the ruling. A rule that Jared Walters, who's trying to do the splits at the moment. Ooh, uncomfortable just looking at that. Ken Blackstone with a clean pickup. We'll see if we do have a replay on this one.
Well, that just shows the speed that Mikey Reynolds has down the first baseline.
That's the Tuatara
That's
out.
the last out on Max Brown last inning. But that was a phenomenal play by Blackstone to be able to track that ball down. It looked like it was to look like it was a clean single to center, but to be able to get to it, and then the throw to first just was bang bang, but just off the bag a little bit. Jared Walker to allow Reynolds to get himself an infield single, and once again, the Adelaide Giants have the first batter of
They
the
do.
inning on base.
They were able to convert that into a run the last time around. We are bottom of the 5th in a 1-run ball game. And that was the lead-off man. So we're going 1, 2, 3. That's a quick double play opportunity. If they can go from 5 to 4 to 3, which they do, Getsu, the Tuatara get 2. Double play and the bases are cleared.
Now batting, Curtis.
That's where the Tuatara are going to say ball never lies. They felt that Reynolds was out at first base. They got themselves the double play ball they were looking for. So there's now 2 out, nobody on.
Yeah, it's exactly what Koenig needed, as well as up to 75 pitches so far in the game. So the pitch count starting to become a factor. I'd love to just have some quick innings here, see if we can get to the latter part of this ball game, try and save the bullpen as much as possible.
Curtis Mead comes to the plate. One of 4 Giants to have played all 20 games thus far, along with Peterson, Aaron Whitefield and Rickson Wingrove.
Definitely is one of the key factors when managers decide who their opening night starter is going to be on the Friday, is you trust your bullpen to be able to get you out of big instances, but if you have to go to them early and often in first game of the series, you're going to burn them out by the time we hit Saturday and then the Sunday games. Getting a good outing from Koenig here, if he can get through this and maybe even one more on that pitch count, that's really going to help tomorrow and the final game on the weekend.
Yeah, and of course on Sundays as well, being a day game, usually you've got a tax bullpen, your less experienced starters, and it's a day game as well. That's when offense seems to explode.
That's where you have your chaos baseball, we've seen quite often. Sunday's game is actually going to be 5:30 because of the aforementioned Air New Zealand flight, which leaves at 11 in the morning. And we weren't going to play a 7 a.m. Sunday game, so...
Be a bit rough for you, Phil.
Be a bit rough. Just in the sleeping bag from Saturday. There's a 3-0 count. We'll come back to that in a sec. Curtis Mead's got Koenig right where he wants him at the moment and takes the traditional 3-0 strike, looking strike. Movie night, Sunday night. The Incredibles 2. Now we're going to put up a big screen here at the end of the game. One of these lovely sunsets. Hopefully the weather's cooled down a bit. So come on down, free movie thanks to the bite as Mead unloads. That's gonna find a gap. Brown couldn't get there on time. Going to be a play at second and out. Now they continue to be bold, but the Tuatara under pressure are coming up with the plays. That will do it for the bite at the end of 5. The Giants, there's $1 in the fine jar. That'll do it for the Giants. At the end of 5, it's 1-0 Adelaide.
Another look here at Curtis Mead going for 2. Ended up being the out that ended the inning. And another look there. Close, but no cigar, Rob.
Oh, good aggressive play. Hit a sinking single to center field. Max Brown dove for it, wasn't able to come up with it. Made a good throw to second base. But if you're the Giants, you're definitely going to take that from Curtis Mead. Didn't hesitate around first base. He was looking for that double the whole way with 2 outs. It's a great play, just didn't quite make it.
Yeah, tip of the cap there. And as we've seen plenty of times tonight, the Giants are not afraid to be aggressive.
Yeah, it's cost him. You can see there on the box score that came up that the Giants are out hitting the Tuatara 7-2. Based on that, should probably have a little bit more than the 1-run lead that they do. So Isaac Franklin making his ABL debut, flew out, singled. He has an ABL average. Right now has the Clippers teammate, Chase Cunningham, in a 1-1 count. Who are the Clippers? Well, Rob is the voice of Super League Baseball Adelaide. And what is Super League Baseball Adelaide, Rob?
I think you've described it many times as baseball on steroids.
Yeah, legal steroids.
It's every inning starts international rules. First and second, nobody out. So there's lots of runs, lots of intrigue. Pitchers are only allowed 30 pitches, but you could get out of an inning, as we've seen, on 2 pitches with an out and a double play or a triple play. So it's a fascinating element. There's lots of young, good players who play here in Southern Australia from Adelaide, and it's exciting baseball.
So these two were part of the Clippers team. Cunningham came in, I think, in the mid-season draft, which was after 3 weeks. It's only a 6-week tournament plus some finals. As Franklin hits that straight at Reynolds, didn't have to move much. He'll flash some leather, and that'll be 1 away. And it's played Wednesday night doubleheader stream, which means it's almost spring training for me, and it's proved to be spring training for you as well, Rob.
That's the first out of inning. Now that
Yeah, definitely. We were able to get a handful of games. There's another handful which I did myself, and it was the second year we had for Super League this year. The rules did change a little bit from last year. Fraser, you were involved last year with Super League, so you saw the first year of it, as that's going to be a little lazy fly ball to McCardle in left field. He'll camp himself under that one for the second out of the inning. And Cunningham, 2 more quick outs, and he's making quick work of the Tuatara once again here in the 6th inning.
One thing for the Tuatara as well, they haven't had many opportunities with base runners on and none out. There's always been outs on the board, so it's been difficult for them to string those hits together. But they are heading into the middle of the order once again, 3-4-5. There's Josh Morgan getting ready to step in. So we'll see if they can turn things around as we are in the middle of this ball game, and you've only got a certain amount of outs to work with, though.
So this is Josh Morgan playing in the 3-hole tonight, third base. Missed opening night of the 2019 season. Always an exciting time. He was at AA level for the Frisco Rough Riders, as he got a bouncer to Reynolds, which will get him on. To cut the story short, as these players often do, he injured a broken hamate bone, multiple torn ligaments in his wrist on opening night. This is basically his Tuatara was his first full game played in over 12 months.
Well, he's looked good so far. Coming on now, he's a key part of this Tuatara lineup, and I'm sure they'll expect as he gets more time and gets some more game experience, he get himself up to speed. But that's why the ABL is so crucial for a lot of those US teams that, that's it. We're very fortunate that our baseball seasons are flipped and they sort of complement each other.
So just quickly, that ball he got a bad bounce, did Reynolds. It sort of ate him up. Error or hit?
If you're scoring at home, that's a base hit. We saw in the first inning he got a bad hop and he was able to stay with it. That one, as any infielder will tell you, that was pretty wicked hop there. He came up, he tried to barehand it because it was such a bad hop.
Rob, as a pitcher, you've said it's an error, so you've committed one way.
No, I'll that one there, as a pitcher, it's like you made your pitch, you got the ground ball, but probably hit a footstep and almost took your shortstop's head off on the hop. So you kind of like tip your cap to him, but it's a tough hit to give up.
We've now got recorded audio of you saying this, so we can bring it up at future points. But yeah, I agree. That was going to be very tough for Reynolds. Very tough hop for him. So 2-0 count, 2 out, runner on.
So this is the combo that was so good last week. The trio, Morgan, Walker, and then Kim. As mentioned, the problem for the Tuatara is they've got a person on, but there's outs on the board at the time. It's been hard to build an inning to anything. Should mention Josh Morgan has just attempted 2 stolen bases this season, successful once, caught once. As Cunningham delivers that, he's an out from going through 6, which 6 scoreless innings. If he could do it, that would exceed expectations. It's not say someone they've picked off the street, but
no, we ran through his numbers of what he's done here in the local league, and then what he had been he's the reigning pitcher of the year from the Frontier League and Independent League back in the United States. So there's a pedigree that Chase Cunningham already brings that just not a local player does. But we do have.
Give the pitcher a wrap, and he gives up his first walk. There's some discussion here.
Well, pitch count getting up there for Cunningham, 75 for the moment, 50 of them for strikes. So Koenig, on the other hand, 82 with 46 for strikes.
That's 4, so yeah, well, 4 balls is usually a walk.
Little discussion between the umpires of what the count actually was. I believe it was 3-0 with ball 4 following. So now,
I remember a strike being called.
Once again, the Tuatara, they maybe have something going. Last time we saw it was with 2 outs. Again, here it's with 2 outs. They need the big 2-out hit. So far, Kim tonight grounded a ball to short and was caught looking last time. So maybe due.
I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, if the umpire's got an issue with the count, he probably should talk to the other umpire, not to. I mean, Morgan's just gone around because Walker's taken first base. And I should add, as a pick-off attempt, I'll give you one guess who leads the Tuataras in being walked. One guess.
It's got to be Jared Walker.
Jared Walker.
The big power hitting left-hander in that order there probably draws a little more hesitancy from pitchers.
There's a long hit, but straight down the throat of McArdle. He will make the 3rd out, and we are through. Tuatara are through 6. It is still a 1-run ball game in favour of the Giants.
We will be heading to the bottom of the order, so we'll see what the Adelaide Giants can do. They're already up by 1 run. They're going to be heading through their lineup once more. So I believe it'll be. Lost track of the order. Who's coming up?
The Whitefield, McArdle, and O'Hoppe. As Meade with the single was thrown out at second base, trying to turn it into a double to end the 5th inning. But Whitefield last time walked. He did get picked off, but then it came into Jordan McArdle, who's already 2 for 2 tonight, couple doubles, and scored the only run.
So just to give you an update about the scores around the ABL, Canberra Cavalry and Geelong Korea, that has ended with the Cavalry winning 3-0.
They're up 2-0 in the series.
There you go, 2-0 in the series. Thank you, Phil. Melbourne Aces and Brisbane Bandits, that's in the top of the 9th, 1 out with the Melbourne Aces up 3-1. Perth Heat and Sydney Blue Sox are tied at 3 apiece in the top of the 6th. And the Tuatara and Giants here, 1-0 in favour of the Giants.
That Melbourne at Brisbane series is tricky. I don't really know who I'm cheering for. I'm not sure. I think generally you're inclined to cheer against Brisbane, as you do cheer against the champions. But Melbourne are the team that are going to be the team that will take Adelaide out of second or out of the playoffs if anyone does. As we have a new pitcher for the Tuatara, Elliot Johnstone is up. As I'll quickly get up the details on Elliot.
Can easily tell Johnson by that glove. You got the Tuatara colors.
Very nice coordination. So he's a returning local pitcher from 2018-19. He was pitched 7 games, 4 starts, 16 innings pitched, an ERA of about 14. So far this year, 13 innings pitched, and I think, Fraser, you're confirming it for me now. All donuts for an ERA.
Yeah, 5 games, no runs surrendered, 4 walks to 11 strikeouts.
Is the first man called on. We'll might get you to get a line on what Koenig's last outing in the Australian Baseball League was. Rob, you'd be happy that they made the change at the end of an inning? You love your mid-inning pitching changes?
Well, I just think it makes for the Super League easier because there is the time factor in the Super League, and as if I was coaching in it, I'd be using that to my advantage to kill some clock if I was winning. And
sorry, Timmy, your day's over. I need to kill some clock.
That's exactly what you could do sometimes. So I certainly would have preferred it to be mid-innings like we did here. And Johnson's going to pour over his first pitch right down the middle of the plate and be ahead 0-1.
Well, of course, MLB bringing in the 3-batter minimum. I'm sure you have some strong opinions on that, Rob.
Whitefield's going to flare that one to center. That's going to drop for a single. And for the third inning in a row, the Adelaide Giants have the first runner on base.
So final line for Jared Koenig, 5 innings pitched. He gave up 7 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts.
And on behalf of Horse, we wish him the best with his adventures finally in the MLB system. We like nothing more than seeing players who come through the ABL, whatever club they come from, succeeding at the American level, which only helps build up the profile of this competition. So McArdle, he is the hot hitter. 2 doubles from his 2 at-bats. And if I've got this right, he is the run on the scoreboard.
Yeah, so far the danger hitter for the Giants as he takes the first pitch for a strike. His first double was right over the first baseman's head down the line. Second double up against the field in left field. So he's picked each line today, and so you're going to have to play him straight up.
See what he can do with that 0-1 count. Whitefield got that speed at first. Let's see. They're going to be keeping him close.
Little different looks now from the Tuatara. Jared Koenig, the lefty, did a great job tonight varying his looks. Ended up picking off 3 different Giants runners. But now with the right-hander up there, it's going to be the little more traditional. You can go on your first movement. And I'm looking for Aaron Whitefield to run at one point.
Well, he fell off the horse. Got caught stealing for just the second time in 19 attempts. And so when that happens, what do? You get back on the horse. So I have a feeling, yeah, man, I'm just going to go and steal the next time up. You watch. Got a perfect view of it there here on the Friday Night Baseball. Thanks to all our crew around the ground. Quite a team that puts this together from AFC Media. You've got a trio of commentators tonight. Fraser Fife back from on Christmas holidays. Rob Ushy's come and join us for the second time, and Phil Hurden, well, I'm sort of stuck here each time. As here's another attempt. Told ya! And he got there. He's back on the horse, Aaron Whitefield.
Hit and run attempt there. McArdle swings through. Whitefield still able to grab the bag as Hamza skipped the ball in there just a little bit late. And now the Giants got a runner on second. Nobody out, threatening again. This one could be an important run as we get into the later part of the game.
Yes, one run is hardly insurance, although the Giants are 5-0 in one-run games. As McArdle strikes out for the first time tonight. And that is the first strikeout for Johnstone this evening.
Big strikeout there from Johnston to get the hottest hitter tonight in the Giants order. He's able to, as you mentioned, 11 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's adding to that. That still has a little bit of work to do. Oh, Hoppy singled last time. Edwards singled in the run. So now he's got to get back dialed in there. He wants to keep Whitefield stranded.
Well, Hoppy 1 for 1 with the walk and the single. And of course, you think it's all those little plays, and it's a game of inches. If McArdle can get anything to the right side, advance Whitefield up to third, then you've got an opportunity runner on third, 1 out. This makes things, shifts it a little bit further into the Tuatara's favour, as there is not a lot of wiggle room for either team at the moment.
Certainly, if you looked at the stats, the Giants have had, shouldn't be a 1-0 scoreline, but the Tuatara are hanging in there. So that one is fouled over the first base dugout.
You have to say it hasn't been a pretty game, but both teams have been bulldogging it through, as you said at the start of the game, Rob. And I think the Tuatara said they have not been flashy, but they have just been keeping themselves in the conversation, getting some hits on the ball when they need it just to keep things rolling along, but they're still searching just to get some consistent production. 8
hits and 4 walks the Giants have had, so that's 12 players on base, just the 1 run. On the flip side, just trying to bring up what the Tuatara have done, it's not that much. They have had 3 hits and 1 walk, so 12 to 4 players on bases. So that one is fouled up. Chance for Hamza to see that. Fly just over the Gabba netting.
Yeah, the game hasn't been the flashiest. The Giants probably, with the more base runners, would have liked to have a little bit more. But I think you have to expect a tight, well-played, close game between 2 first-place teams.
Yeah, as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, they're both leading their respective divisions, but not a lot of space between the leaders and the teams that are right up their tail. So both teams will really be wanting to capitalize on this situation and this matchup. Because I know for the Adelaide Giants, as we mentioned, 7-1 heading into this game in home games. For the Tuatara away, they're 3-5. So a lot of their wins have come at home where they're 8-4. So if they can at least get some wins here, I'm sure they'd love to at least split the series.
The other thing is, of the 5 series played, Tuatara have had 3 at home, 2 on the road. Giants the opposite. They finished the season with 3 out of the last 5 on their home deck, where they have been awesome this year. On this occasion, Ahope swings through, and that is back-to-back strikeouts for Johnston, who's, after giving off the lead-off single, is settling in beautiful.
Yeah, winning road games is what wins you championships as a team, but defending your home turf is what gets you into the playoffs, gets you a good seed. Because on the road, if you can go 500 but win all your games at home, win 3/4 of your games at home, you're going to be a top seed, which is what every team has to strive for at playoff time.
So this is Mitch Edwards, who had a very important RBI. That one looks like it's going to be playable, though. That should be a fairly quick one. Well, after the leadoff man got on, Kent Blackstone cleans up at second base. That will do it for 6, Fraser.
That will do it for 6, 1-0 in favour of the Giants, and you're watching Friday Night Baseball.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound Radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Welcome back. We're in the 7th. Tuatara fans, you might be on the edge of your seats, but don't worry. It is a 9-inning contest. You've still got 9 outs to do something about this 1-run deficit. You can see the crowd in. It's very pleasant here at the ballpark now. 27 degrees and a nice breeze blowing off the St. Vincent Gulf. We're located within 500 metres of the Beachville Herd and Fraser 5. Rob Ashley bringing you Friday Night Baseball.
So for the Tuatara, it will be Andrew Mark, Johnny Homza, and Josh McAdams, the 6, 7, 8 due up. We'll still have Chase Cunningham on the mound. His pitch count getting up there, but he has been solid for the Giants. I think he's answered the bell.
I think the biggest question left now for manager Adamson is when do you take him out? you going to let him roll? Right now he's cruising. 3 hits, 1 being an infield single last inning. You know you have a very good bullpen. That's going to be a one-hopper. He's going to find that one himself. A little flip over to first base. Easy first out.
Could he have done that any more casually?
Well, it's time for our beer batter.
Yeah, through the legs, add a bit of pizzazz to it.
And I think you're just answering your question right now.
Well, it looks like they're going to go out, take a look, see where it got him. Make sure it was all glove, or if there was any wrist or leg involvement there. It looked like it was pretty clean. Yeah, it might have been more the nonchalant reaction that got them a little bit more worried about than anything. But
still going.
I've seen it a few times this year with him throwing for Kensington. It's pretty much a ball comes at him. It's just nonchalant. It's all business.
I do believe now this is Johnny Homza.
This is Johnny Homza.
It is.
Not Hosmer.
That's it. Thank goodness I got 4 games to call.
That's right. So Cunningham, that pitch number 77, that one's going to be a ball 1-0 count. So I think really that's going to be the main thing for Cunningham in this game. Is just going to be the pitch count at this point, because he has been rolling along. And for the Tuatara, really Homza yet to get a hit. He's got 2 flyouts to centre and right. McAdams has a single and a strikeout behind him, and then Max Brown strikeout and 4-3 ground out. So not a lot of players getting back-to-back hits. They've been able to get someone on here and there. 3 hits for him so far, but just been struggling to get that consistent production, but still got innings going, but we are on the top of the 7th.
So the chicken dance music, the K-Man, free beer for those of drinking age. Should there be a strikeout. And I should have, the Melbourne Aces have done something similar, but it's free popcorn should there be the K-Man strikeout, which gets the kids really amped.
I was going to say the kids would love it, but maybe the older parts of the
kids.
crowd, the older kids not so jacked. There's going to be a pop-up on the infield, and who wants that one? Peterson calls for it, finds himself camped under that one. We're second out of the inning, and Cunningham continues to cruise. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th.
I'm going to bring up the right fielder, Josh McAdams.
Just speaking of 7-inning contests, there will be one tomorrow. Double header Saturday, 4 o'clock start Adelaide time. That is 6:30 for those across the Tasman. And if you're in locally, come down to the ballpark. It's Elvis night. We have a champion Elvis impersonator. I think I could almost do the Elvis impersonation from his Las Vegas days.
I was going to say, what Elvis are we talking here? We're talking jumpsuit Elvis, we're talking early Elvis?
We're talking not early, we're talking the jumpsuit with a couple of hamburgers, Elvis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And as mentioned, Sunday is 5:30 movie night. Now for the Tuatara fans, this is the only visual stream of the Friday Night Baseball team. If you do want to keep track live coverage, it's on Mixlr. Go to the channel Aussie Phil H just before the first pitch, and you'll hear me and you'll hear the PA system. Hopefully me louder than the PA this week.
Well, that takes us back to the early days of the Bite, the first broadcast on Mixlr.
Bite Radio.
How far we've come in only a couple of years.
We have.
And here we are, 2-1 count on McAdams. Base is clear, 2 out. Ready to go, Cunningham with the pitch. Nice fastball, gets it in, evens it up. 2-2-2.
It's a Richie, which usually means something marvellous is about to happen. The New Zealanders would get the Richie.
Yeah, well, they would.
The Americans have got no idea, but the New Zealanders know Richie Benaud. They would have understood the commentary and the twos. And when the scoreboard lights up with twos, who else could you think of but Richie Benaud?
Well, here we go. A Richie here in the top of the 7th. And then we're just going to go right back to Brown.
Of course, Australia and New Zealand are have a very intense sporting rivalry, but we're like cousins, brothers. We love to beat each other, but all part of a family down this part of the world.
A flare that's going to go foul. Luckily, we're broadcasting baseball and not softball, because I think the underarm deliveries would get things a bit heated in the chat.
Yes, they would. So it's interesting looking at the history of baseball in New Zealand. The actual first ever game was between Albert Spalding's All-Stars and the Chicago White Stockings in 1888. Believed to be the first professional baseball game in the Southern Hemisphere, because they went to New Zealand first before bringing this tour over to Australia. And Albert Spalding, that Spalding of Spalding Sporting Goods.
Right.
And the White Stockings would later be the Chicago Cubs, replaced by another White Stockings team a little later.
Well, full count. Another one that's going to go foul down the right side for McAdams. So he's making contact, keeping it alive.
New Zealand only came together as a baseball federation in 1989. So they had little competitions here, there and around the country. Broken bat.
Right up the middle. Reynolds going to have to throw with some pace, and he gets it. And a nice pick there. Wingrove taking it out to end the inning. So the Tuatara, they go down, still searching for their first run of the game for the Giants. They'll be looking to try and add some more on.
Yeah, and we saw a quick flash on the screen there. The Giants double barrel action in the bullpen. And so we'll see if Cunningham comes out to keep going, or if they do go to Ryan Chafee, who is warming up there.
We'll see shortly. Just that final bit on New Zealand baseball, just to put it in perspective if people are where it's at. So the same year that Australia had its Australian Baseball League version 1, New Zealand finally came together as a federation. They have their own tournaments, which are run the New Zealand National Championships. And the little leaguers, they get to go in the Asia Pacific qualifications. We've seen, as mentioned, New Zealand ranked 50 in the world. They've got to the last 2 World Baseball Challenges in the pre-qualifications, where they picked up some wins. They've beaten Thailand in 2013 and the Philippines in 2017. But to a certain extent, they struggle under Australia's shadow in terms of going further from Oceania. But the Tuatara coming in has been a huge step. Auckland's a city about 1.6 million, compared with Adelaide about 1.4. And this helps lift the profile of one of the backwaters of baseball, but on a very much now a growing trajectory.
Definitely, for anyone who hasn't been to New Zealand, you have to go. I was there, lucky enough to find myself there probably about 5-6 years ago, which I stayed with friends for about 3 months, and mainly based in Wellington at the time for myself, but was able to travel through the North and South Islands, spent some time with some Maori people on the North Island, and it was an amazing time that I had there, and you definitely want to find some time to stop, whether it's Queenstown, Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch, any of the cities. They're all gorgeous.
Next year, if the schedule stays similar, it will be Adelaide's turn to go to North Harbour and play in Tuatara country.
Wingrove pop up to third base and be drifting well foul towards the dugout, but going to be taken out there by Morgan for the first out.
Might have to go and call a game with Watto and Josh Colemider. That'll be a bit of fun.
Hey, it depends what time of year. If it's around Christmas, you know I'll be there.
And as much as the Tuatara are growing, the local baseball scene in New Zealand is growing exponentially. This season, there's a number of imports playing for a lot of the clubs. I know lots of players over there right now getting opportunities. And some of the guys over there, we've seen some of them here in Adelaide in the past, and they're having great seasons, and they're contributing back to the local teams just as with so much of their knowledge. That's going to make it grow even more.
Well, I guess we saw Connor O'Gorman, Bo Tiwa Bishop, Max Brown. You know, New Zealanders coming over here to play at a National League level. Now they can do it in their own country. that can only be great for the development of the game.
So Cole Stobie in, 1-1 count, 1 out, bases clear. Good pitch by Johnstone there, gets the strike. What's been a pretty brisk ball game so far. I know I'm saying it, I want more baseball. 1-2 count, 1 out. That pitch just outside. What I was going to say is that as we get later on into this ball game, every pitch just gets that little bit more deliberate. Every at-bat taking on a little bit more importance.
We've got 2 finals in the books. We'll share that in a sec. So we mentioned earlier, Canberra have beaten Geelong 3-0. That means they lead that series 2-0. Melbourne have beaten Brisbane 5-1. So that means Melbourne just keep the pressure on Perth and Adelaide in the southwest. And Brisbane, when are the Bandits going to start making their annual charge?
Yeah, it's been an interesting season for them, to put it mildly, but I mean, they're a team that has won so much over the past few years as Stobie goes down. So I don't think anyone's necessarily feeling bad for them.
Yeah, no, after that first weekend, I was thinking maybe it was the T12 hangover, since they had so many players on that tournament team that just weren't ready to go yet for the ABL season, but they've struggled all season long. 4 might be enough.
Yeah, might be. Of course, for every team on a downside, there's a couple coming up, and you're looking at 2 of them right here. Just to round out the scores around the bases. Top of the 6th in Sydney, and it's Perth leading Sydney 5-3. So the Southwest Division, Adelaide with Perth a game behind and Melbourne 2 back. Melbourne are 1, Perth are leading. No rest for Adelaide.
So Mikey Reynolds, lineup turning back over. Ends it up at a 1-1 count. So far for him, he's 1 for 3. Had the infield single, fly out to centre field, a strikeout for his tally tonight. Done a solid job at the top of the order. Right now Johnstone just looking to get through this inning. He's been sharp since coming in.
Give a leadoff single to Whitefield. He stole second, but since then, he's been lights out. He had him at 11 strikeouts to 5 innings on his numbers on the year. You can add 3 more strikeouts on an inning and 2/3 so far.
Yeah, well, after letting on that single, he then struck out McCardle and O'Hoppy. As Reynolds flies this one out towards right field. McAdams coming in almost into foul territory, and he'll take that one for the 3rd out. So that means the Giants are retired.
Well, that'll do it for 7. We've gone the full Auckland, but there's 2 more to come. You're watching Friday Night Baseball. Welcome back, Active Display Stadium. We're to the 8th Friday Night Baseball. Coming to you from Active Display Stadium, Bennett Field in West Beach Parks. The Giants have out-hit Auckland 8-3, but have just the 1-run lead. We have Ryan Chafee coming in as the pitcher. We'll give you the line on Chase Cunningham shortly. But Fraser Chafee, he's been a pretty good closer, coming in a bit early.
Yeah, so far over the course of this year, 8 games he's pitched in, a 2.31 ERA over 11 2/3. He has 14 strikeouts to 4 walks. As you mentioned, one of the more reliable options in the Giants bullpen.
Now, last time I saw Ryan Chafee on the Friday Night Baseball ads, he had a pretty good going beard. Might have been his Christmas Day activity. He's totally shaved it off. Still got a pretty good mo going. Gives him a totally different look.
And as we see Chafee take over here in the 8th inning, what a debut for Chase Cunningham in the ABL. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Any manager would take that, and when it's your first start, you can't ask for anything more from the Adelaide Giants.
6 innings of scoreless baseball, 76 pitches means that he averaged about less than 13 pitches in innings.
And that's exactly what you want to, as you mentioned, Rob, earlier in the broadcast. It just opens up so many options as you head later on into the series. It doesn't burn the bullpen out as quick, and just means for the Giants that they can go to 1 or 2 more pitches for the rest of the game if things hold. And for the Tuatara as well, they've had some good production out of Jared Koenig to start. So both pitchers have done what they've been asked and then more. So I think both managers will be pretty happy.
And if you're the Tuatara, as good as Ryan Chafee has been this year and last year, you're just happy not to see Cunningham back out there on the mound for as good as he's been tonight. You go, thank you, we'll take our chances with somebody else.
We'll see what they can do. An 0-2 count here on Brown. And he's going to go down looking. Second strikeout for him tonight. So he's provided some value defensively, but not so much with the bat. Struggling coming into this series, batting under 100.
Yes, you wonder at what point the call is going to be made there. He's got a 60-game playing streak. 61 games, sorry. But they need something, even if you are your number 9 hitter. So they go back to the top of the order.
Isaac Franklin working with an 0-1 count at the moment. So far for him, flyer to centre field, single to right, and a 6-3 ground out.
Chafee brought in to close out both Game 3 and Game 4, pitched 3 in the 3rd innings last week. Gave up 3 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, 44 pitches in total, facing 13 batters.
A quick 0-2 count, and they're going to appeal at 3rd, no swing. So Franklin will stay alive for at least 1 more pitch.
So Rob, do you think he's going for the 6-out save?
Yeah, I think you're probably going to turn to Chafee here to get a couple. There's a big fastball to blow Franklin away for his 2nd out. Back-to-back strikeouts here. If you're looking at him, he hasn't thrown a lot over the last couple of weeks. He did have some trouble a few weeks ago. He blew a couple games, probably gave him a little bit of rest. But with a couple arms missing, I think Dano Ono might have been an arm they went to at this point or next inning. But with him returning to Japan for before his next season, I think you're going to go with the your next option, which is the man who started this season as your closer and was your closer last year.
I mean, one thing you hear from managers all throughout the ABL, you play for tonight. You worry about the rest of the weekend when it comes. So if Chafee can go multiple innings and that's what they want to do, you do it and you deal with the consequences.
So Blackstone a 1-1 count. Make that 2-1. A 1-2, sorry.
Yeah, it's been some quick work by Chafee so far. 2 strikes already. He's struck out the past 2. Can he get a 3rd? A fly ball out towards the burrito bowl, and that one's going to go well foul.
So reminder, this is Game 1 of a 4-game set. Tomorrow, games at 4 and 7. Sunday 5:30. That's Adelaide time. For New Zealand time, that is 6:30 and 9:30. And at 8 o'clock New Zealand time, there will be a radio stream, which will publicise through the Tuatara social media. So if you're a die-hard fan, you'll still be able to cover the live action. All the 2s, it's a Richie.
And Chafee going for that strike, a chopper that is going to go foul once again. So Blackstone doing a good job here, just trying to stay alive.
So he's One strike away from the Kinning, striking out all three in order in the inning.
And I don't think Blackstone wants that to happen as he's fouled off the past 3 towards the Giants' side of the Giants dugout, but they're all going foul into the softball field and towards the hitting cages, and all that's over to the right side that you can't see on your screen.
Blackstone putting up a bit of a fight here. Fouled off a number of balls after Brown and Franklin were just blown away by Chafe, who came in throwing strike after strike.
Here we go, one more time. Going to throw that one up high. Works the full count.
Blackstone has only walked twice this season, struck out 11 times.
Payoff pitch once again, and a great at-bat by Blackstone as he works the walk. Important walk there for the Tuatara as that brings up the number 3 hitter in Josh Morgan, who was able to reach an infield single.
So the trick now, again, Tuatara have a player on, but it's with 2 out.
That's really been the story of the night for them. Just they've got guys on, but they've not been able to do a whole lot. They've lacked that flexibility because they've always had 1 out and 2 out in the inning.
Certainly a great job from the Giants so far, the pitching staff getting those early outs, and it makes it a lot easier on your defense. If the runners who do get on base get on with 1 out already or 2 outs, then you don't have to worry about maybe them trying to get extra bases.
A hard hit ball out towards right. Stobie ranging back on the warning track. He does have this one. He comes in a couple of steps and takes it for the 3rd out. So that will retire the Tuatara. Still 3 hits on the board for them as they're searching for their first run. But they are running out of time.
Just the 3 outs left as the Giants will look for some insurance. Just looking at the road ahead for these 2 clubs, as mentioned, we're in the second half of the season. This is week 6 of 10. Next week, the Giants are off to Canberra before a huge series that I reckon is going to decide the Southwest when they host the Perth Heat, January 10 to 12. If you're in the vicinity, make sure you get along to the games. Then off to Melbourne before we finish with Geelong Korea on the Australia Day weekend. For the Tuatara, they travel back and host Geelong Korea, the 2 expansion teams. That'll be a 4-game set, January 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then they travel 2 weeks in succession. They go back to the divisional games. They go to Blacktown, take on the Blue Sox. Currently that'll be a 1v2 game. Then travel to Canberra and wrap up with a series hosting the Brisbane Bandits. That again will be the Australia Day weekend. Of course, the playoffs, top 2 teams in each conference go through, and the next best 3rd place team with the best record. There's a wild card game. We're down to 4. Changing the playoff structure this year, the semi-final series will be played across 2 venues. The 2nd ranked team of the 2 host game 1. The top ranked team of the series hosts games 2 and 3 if needed. Same with the ABLCS. The top ranked team will get the choice of how they want the games to work. So, not talking playoffs just yet, Fraser, but it's something that could well be on the horizons if these 2 teams can maintain their current form.
Yeah, well, at the moment, as you mentioned, Giants at the top of the Southwest Division with a 13-7 record. Perth Heat behind them at 12-8, and the Aces 11-9. For the Northeast Division, Tuatara at the top 11-9, Blue Sox 9-11, and Canberra Cavalry 9-12. So really, you're looking at a 2-game gap between the Tuatara and the Blue Sox, and only a 1-game gap between the Giants and the Heat. Shows how close things are at the moment. So Eric Peterson stepping in to lead off the inning. As we still have Elliot Johnston on the mound after his strong inning of work, so he'll come in once again and try to shut the door on the Giants.
Yeah, he's into his 3rd inning of work. He's come in and 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Gave up the 1 hit, but since then, 6 straight batters set down. And he's found himself a little groove that the Tuatara are going to try to ride through the 8th inning here to maybe try to get that one run they need to tie it in the top of the 9th.
Peterson going to try and work this one through, hits it to short. Throw over to first will be in time. Franklin to Walker connection proving successful for the first out. As it will now push into Curtis Mead, the number 3 hitter for the Giants. He's currently 1 for 3. Did get a single to centre last time round.
Yeah, single to center his last time up. He was thrown out at second base, trying to turn it into a 2-base hit. But he's hit the ball very well tonight. He tracked the ball. Max Brown tracked the ball down in center field in the first inning that looked like it had double written all over it. So it's moved down into the 3-hole tonight. Curdy Mead has responded with a couple of well-hit baseballs.
Working with an 0-1 count. This one is might get past short, but not quite. Throw is going to go over the first baseman's head, but no harm, no foul, as Mead will just take the base and say thank you very much. So runner on first for the Giants, and Mead does have some speed. Now the danger part of the lineup for the Giants. Whitefield, McArdle, and O'Hoppy tonight. He's been getting on base quite a bit.
2 for 4 for Curtis tonight. Bump that average just up that little bit more.
So one of the rare times for Johnson, he's going to have to work out of the stretch.
So you have to say the Tuatara have... What do you think is a normal percentage of successful base running? 65, 70% success of stealing bases, Rob?
If your team's built with speed, I think you're probably looking for even higher than 70% for a team for succession. If you're built with some guys who can run, if you're under 70, you're not your team.
You're not built for speed.
Your team's either not actually built for speed, or you need to work on getting some better jumps and reads of the pitcher, because you should be up and probably even over 75 when. If you got some guys who can run. But
well, Adelaide last year was 73%. They're 85% coming into tonight. That'll go down a bit. Tuatara was 69% in their inaugural season, down to 65% coming into tonight.
Whitefield, that one is going to take a bad hop for the shortstop. And that will mean 2 base runners on for the Giants. Now, Rob, you laugh.
I'm laughing too.
That's a bad hop. I don't know if they're going to turn a double play on that. Whitefield runs very well, and he's busting out of the box. But you're gonna get probably at least the lead runner on that. But we've seen a couple bad hops at shortstop tonight, starting in the first inning. The one that Reynolds was able to stay with, and the last 2. That one right over top of Franklin, and then the one before that nearly took Reynolds' head off, but he got his bare hand up there to knock it down, but just wasn't able to get the out.
Geordie McArdle, one of the better hitters this season for the Giants, and a crucial run-scoring opportunity to pad their lead.
2 doubles already tonight. He scored the only run. He's got a chance to blow this open here in the bottom of the 8th, and he's going to follow that one straight back.
The 2 doubles for him. O'Hoppy behind him. He's gotten on via a single and a walk. Then you got Mitch Edwards, who's driven in the only run tonight, which is a single to the right, reached with a walk as well. So this is where the production has come from. First ball of the at-bat. Collective exhale from the crowd. Johnson been so effective so far for the Tuatara tonight, but might be reaching the end of his rope.
The runners in scoring position tonight. Adelaide are 2 for 8, have left 6 on base.
I mean, they've got 2 outs to work with here. So we'll see what they can do. But that wind really blowing in now, so that's going to work against McArdle. Hitting to the right side of the field. And golfs at that one. 2 out for the Giants. A crucial out there for Johnstone, as now he's got to get through 1 more. And that is Logan O'Hoppy.
We'll see if O'Hoppy can make up for his first time when he faced Johnston. He struck out for the second out of the 6th inning. Facing him here for another time. Base hit here gets him maybe an insurance run, especially the way the Tuatara's offense has struggled tonight.
Well, that's the thing. It's the Giants have been able to get that early lead, but that's all it's been since the 4th inning. Other than that, it's been on a knife's edge. Tuatara been able to get base runners on with 2 out, 1 out in the inning, and been able to produce a whole lot. You still feel like the Tuatara, they're one quality at bat from breaking this game open.
They are. One crack of the bat there. Runners in scoring position 0 for 3. So they've left the same number on base in 6. It's just the Giants have advanced them around a bit more with the now 9 scoring position opportunities.
Pitch just a bit inside.
And move the batter's feet a little bit, make him a little uncomfortable in the box.
Elvis nights tomorrow night.
Hoppy decided to give the fan a little shake in advance. Johnson's going to come with.
It's a 2-on, 2-1 count, 2 out. Hoppy at the plate, fly ball popped up. First baseman Walker going to track that one, and it's out of his glove. A reprieve there for the Giants. Whoa.
It'll just show as a foul, won't it? But it's that tricky spot where the grass meets the warning track. Right at the precise moment he's trying to make that catch.
We saw him move a long way on that one, and there goes that's to the wind you alluded to at the beginning of the inning, how it's picked up even more straight in from right field. That ball went up there, and you saw Walker's probably started about 10, 15 feet behind first base when he made his first loop, and he ended up almost on the on-deck circle with the batter trying to track that ball down.
That means Johnson's going to have to make one more quality pitch, as that one's going to be outside. So full count payoff pitch, bottom of the 8th.
Runners are going to get a little extra lead here. They're going to be moving on the pitch, so anything that finds the outfield grass probably scores Curtis Mead from second base, as he does have speed. Something in a gap might score Aaron Whitefield from first.
Traveling time.
Important here. Take your time. Crucial for both teams, as you mentioned. Be a huge confidence booster for the Tuatara if they can get out of this unscathed. Head into their last opportunity to score some runs, only trailing a 1-0 deficit. For the Giants, the opposite. And a strike 3 called, as that will end the inning. A quality pitch from Johnstone gets him out of it.
Well, the Giants have had their chances. Their lead is just 1 run. Buckle up, folks. Take your breather, come back. We have a big top of the 9th coming up. Hope you're enjoying. If you're in New Zealand, Saturday morning baseball. It's the Giants 1, the Tuatara 0.
When your GP suggests an X-ray, low-dose CT scan, ultrasound or MRI, you can experience the difference of truly individual care and one focus, you. Sound radiology is your choice for special attention, your choice for peace of mind, your choice when results are important. People from all over South Australia turn to Sound Radiology. One central location, one central focus, you. Call 1300 Radiology. Sound Radiology, your choice when care is everything.
Zambrero, made to order Mexican from fresh, quality ingredients. Explore our menu, dine in or grab and go. Vegan and gluten-free options. Fresh and healthy. Zambrero, Mexican with a mission.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
Well, here we are, the top of the ninth in Friday night baseball. You can see the box score there. The Giants have out-hit the Tuatara 10-3, have only converted that advantage into a one-run lead. Auckland on a 7-game winning streak are down to their last 3 outs to keep that alive. I'll give you a final, hopefully from Sydney and Perth shortly, but the Tuatara want to keep winning to stay ahead of the Blue Sox. Adelaide need to keep winning to stay ahead of the Perth Heat. It will be the danger man for the Tuatara to get underway with Jared Walker, followed by Sok Kim and Andrew Mark. And to call us home, you're with Fraser Fife.
Thank you, Phil. Walker 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout tonight. Chafee staying in the game. Just did well through that last inning. Just to keep the Tuatara from getting anything on the board, as they've only managed to get the 3 hits and a few more base runners on via the walk. The Tuatara will be looking for something they haven't been able to get for most of the night, and that's a lead-off base runner. Fly out towards left field, and McCardle will take this one for the first out. 1 down.
So that's one thing they've managed to do tonight. Jared Walker so dangerous last week. One of 6 players from these 2 teams in the ABL Team of the Week. Pretty much shut him down. 0 from 3 with just the 1 walk. But here's a man who can make it a tied ball game with just 1 swing of the bat. The 30-year-old Korean Won Seok Kim.
Yeah, so far tonight, both Cunningham and Chafee, they've just kind of cut right through the Tuatara lineup. There hasn't been the 1 inning, which they had bases loaded with 2 out after an error, but they haven't threatened at all. And being only down 1 run, they should be thankful, but the offense doesn't look like they can get that right now.
The Tuatara aren't any slouches offensively, as Phil mentioned or alluded to earlier. Of course, the 7-inning games do skew their stats a little bit, but I believe that as a team hitting around the 324 mark. As a ground ball, second base to first, and that will be the second out, as Peterson having plenty of action out at second base tonight. So far he's only had the 1 mistake, which didn't cost the Giants. But been pretty smooth there nonetheless. So with 2 out, it will bring up Andrew Mark, the designated hitter, who is searching for his first hit tonight to try and keep the Tuatara in it.
Yeah, 6 assists for Eric Peterson at second base tonight. Great job from Cunningham and Chafee now so far keeping the ball on the ground. Mark's gonna swing away at the first pitch, foul that one off. And as it's been the consistent theme, Giants pitchers are ahead of Tuatara batters once again.
And just speaking ahead, we were the last to start. We may not be the last to end. The victories elsewhere to Canberra over Geelong, Melbourne over Brisbane, 2 away wins. Perth leads Sydney 5-3, top of the 9th. So that could be 3 road winners if that holds.
All right, 2-1 count on Mark. All right, it's him 2 ground outs to second base and then a ground out to the pitcher. And a good second strike there by Chafee. So 2-2-2. Richie once more. And the 2-strike pitch, that one is going to get past Peterson into centre field. So the Tuatara keep themselves alive for 1 more batter at the very least. But some good 2-strike hitting there from Mark. 2-2 count, not a whole lot of leeway that you have there. So for him to be able to make solid contact, get it past a pretty speedy middle infield for the Giants, works in their favour.
Yeah, it looked like Chafee won with another fastball there. Just tried to blow it right by him to end the game. Mark was able to catch up to that one, send it right back where it came from, keep the Tuatara alive, and it's just keep moving on to the next man in line and see what you can string together here with 2 out.
That's only 1 run for the Tuatara, as will now be Johnny Homza. He himself is also 0 for 3, fly to centre field, fly to right field, and then a pop out to second base.
You've noticed they've dropped the chicken music for this out.
I mean, they'll take a strikeout, but
they'll take it.
I think it's just a little bit tense at the ballpark right now. Important that Edwards comes out. Had a bit of pep talk with Chafee here.
Stephanie Jones says it's Johnny home runser. Well, if he does that, we've got ourselves a ball game very late.
Wouldn't the Tuatara fans love that?
Then we'll call her a clairvoyant if
the Nostradamus of the chat.
Johnny gets into one here, then I might be calling her for some lottery numbers in the.
Let's see how we go. He's currently working with a 2-0 count. Make it 2-1. So, as you mentioned, Phil, a win streak of 7 so far for the Tuatara.
Giants have a 3-game winning streak as well.
Yep. Homza bouncing ball to Reynolds. This one doesn't have a bad bounce. They throw it on to second, and that will be the game as the Adelaide Giants take out the Auckland Tuatara 1-0 here. Friday night baseball. What more can you want?
27 innings of scoreless baseball. The Giants have delivered. They shut out the Heat in the last 2 games. They shut out the Tuatara here. And the Giants are 6-0 in 1-run games. This is a team that is doing things mightily at the moment. They go to a 14-7 record with their 4th straight win and an 8-1 at home. The Tuatara just robbed. They hung in there, but were never given an opportunity to convert anything into some runs.
No, as we see the box score is up there, 1-0, 1 run in the 4th inning. Tuatara could never get anything going. We've seen the Adelaide Giants throughout the year score runs, have big innings. Today, their pitching did it. Chase Cunningham making his ABL debut, dominant. Ryan Chafee, 2 innings, dominant as the closer once again. And if the pitching is going to pitch like that to go with the hitting this year, it could be a special year in Adelaide.
Well, this, of course, is game 1. The next couple of games coming up will be a doubleheader tomorrow at 4 and 7 and Sunday 5:30. Add 2.5 hours to those if you're across the Tasman. And of course, you've got the radio call as well. Keep an eye out social media for that. As for Friday night baseball, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. The Perth Heat could be the series that decides the Southwest Division and the top seeding in the ABL playoffs. That will be Friday, January 10th. Time to say our farewells. Rob, thank you so much for joining us again, providing your insight. Have a great new year.
Thanks, Phil. It's always a pleasure, and it was great to be back with Fraser once again.
And Fraser, well, it was just like old times. It's great to have you back. Pity you've got a job to go back to in Swan Hill, but thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you. I'm like a college basketball player, one and done.
One and done, Fraser. Well, this is Phil Hurden on behalf of Lisa and the entire Friday Night Baseball team saying thank you so much for tuning in wherever you've been watching around the planet. Enjoy your night. Have a happy new year. Good night from Active Display Stadium.